Hello, everyone. It's 7:01 or almost 7:01 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on Friday the 13th. And hopefully, you're having a nice Friday evening. And all of my guests are here. We're all connected, ready to go. They're off screen, waiting for me to shut up and bring them in. But I'm glad everybody's here to join me for the Fun Table Sessions, round 15. And as I was mentioning to my guests, that I love doing these, and as long as guests are interested in doing them and I can figure out a way to schedule them, then I want to continue doing them. My initial plan actually was once we got close to the week before Thanksgiving, which is actually next Friday, I was going to stop because I figured, well, the holidays and people are busy with their schedules. But of course, this is 2020, so we're not in a typical holiday season. And I've already had some guests tell me that they couldn't do today or next Friday, but they could do Black Friday. And I'm like, oh, well, okay. And then I'll have to kind of see if other people can do it. The wrench right now is actually going to be me because my day job might be turning to night. And so on paper, could I still do the fun table sessions? Yeah, I might have to do them like from 6 to 8:30 or 6 to 9 or something, a little bit earlier. But that also means I'm not going to be drinking anything if I want to keep my job. So I just have to kind of make a decision and see what's going on. And I won't know that till probably Monday at the earliest, what my schedule's like. So and if Fridays didn't work, then I thought, well, I can move it to another day. But I don't have Saturday nights off either, and I don't think anyone wants to really do these on Sunday nights when potentially they have to go to work on Monday. So I'll just have to kind of figure out how things work. If you've been checking anything out this week in terms of the interviews, normally those would not have been scheduled, but because of some COVID protocols at the place that I'm going to be working at, and I had some sniffles going on, nothing major, but needed to be careful, and that was a protocol. So I ended up with some time on my hands, and that's why I was able to schedule some interviews, such as the interview today with Yaz, which was awesome at noon. She's got a lot to say, and I really enjoyed talking and getting to know her. And then I got to talk with Adrian yesterday at night and to talk to Peter from Scotland during the morning. And gosh, it was just been a lot of really interesting things this week. And what I can also mention is that, so coming up Monday morning, which is going to be really early, Pacific Standard Time, 7 a.m., have part two with the Soap Girls who are in South Africa. That's why it's so early, because for them it'll be like 5 p.m. And they always do an acoustic live stream on Monday nights. So we're going to do part two of our interview. Last time it lasted over 2 hours. This time I don't really know. We kind of got into some pretty heavy topics for most of that interview. This time around, it might be the same thing. And hopefully we can get a chance to maybe talk about their music since they are a band. But I'm just going to kind of go with the flow. So that's the last thing that I have actually set. Next Saturday, depending on where my schedule is, I do have my first Tales from the Road. And you might be thinking, what the hell is that? And one of the road crew folks that I met, Ed Craig, is been driving bands around for a good chunk of his career. And so I'm really, hi, Industrial Girl, good to see you again. I'm usually up at 6. Okay, so yeah, if you're up at 6, that's 7 a.m. on Monday. We're going to be doing this thing from connecting with folks from South Africa. But next Saturday, I just don't know the time of talking with Ed. So obviously, being a bus driver for many bands, he's got all kinds of stories, and he's a really great guy. So I'm looking forward to actually having him be the first road crew member to be a part of this Tales from the Road series that I want to start doing. And so the interviews aren't going to go away, and I really don't even think the fun tables are going to go away. It's just more about where are they. So once I know my schedule, then I can kind of piece things around it. There has been some discussion with Alice, for those Alice fans out there, about what they're up to, and then where our 4 interviews are, because I still have Sasha, Taj, Carl, and myself to be interviewed. So we haven't forgotten about that. They're working on a bunch of things, and as always, I'm following their lead. So whenever they have time in their schedules, it kind of looks like we might be doing some Sundays, but I don't know when or if they're in a row or what's going on. There's really no timeline. There's no pressure from my end, and they also know that my schedule is kind of all over the place right now. So it's still there. It hasn't left the radar. We're going to make these things happen, but we just don't exactly know when it's going to be. But as soon as I know, I'll be blasting it all over my Facebook and my Instagram as always, and then you'll be able to check out those interviews. So let's see. Anything else that I'm missing? Oh gosh, I guess I am missing something. I forgot to check my technology. And let me check it real quick here because I was too busy talking. Okay, yeah, it looks like it's kind of doing what I want it to do. Dun, 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 dun. Yep, there it is. Okay, cool. So, if you're not familiar with Fun Table Sessions, this is a virtual happy hour hangout, chat conversation, shoot the breeze kind of thing. If you're into having a cocktail or a beer or wine, then that's great. If not, that's okay too. If you're drinking water or pop, coffee, tea, whatever your thing is, that's kind of how we do this. And everything else should be check the tech. Yeah. So everything seems to be going well on my end. I've heard there's been actually some issues with Twitch lately, but I don't know if that's from my end or from Twitch's end. Somebody was telling me that earlier today, but from what I'm seeing, it looks fine. But yeah, so we just kind of talk about various things, and these are folks that have either been interviewed by me or are in the arts realm, that someone that I know. And so we just kind of have random topics that we talk about. I do have questions, but I don't know the last time I actually pulled any of those questions out. It may have been 4 sessions ago or 5 sessions ago. So let's kind of get to the guests here. And so the first guest I'm going to bring in, I've had glitches on other channels. Okay, so yeah, maybe there's something going on with some Twitch stuff. My first guest is somebody that I went to high school with, and he was also a guest interview early on the first leg of the Alice tour. And he is the CEO of Shooting Star. Oh gosh, I'm already too much beer already. I'm gonna ruin it. He can tell us when he comes and joins us, but he also is doing Mike's drum tracking. So he's got a lot of things going on, and he's also a family man, a man of faith, and a really great guest. So let's bring in our first guest, which is Mike Gruwell. Here we go.
Too much beer already?
I know.
have to catch up to you.
How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing awesome. It's so great to see you, and I'm glad I got that note from you about a week ago and able to make it work. But yeah, it's going good. I mean, you know, Georgia.
Yeah, like we were saying earlier. I mean, you guys have been front and center, and then there's the recount going on and all that kind of stuff. And
yeah, I mean, I think it's amazing. I mean, to see Georgia turn blue. So that's I don't think because I moved down here just after the Olympics in '96. Well, the Olympics were '96, but I moved down here in '97. But yeah, this definitely was a red state. So, but definitely over the last year, you saw a lot of people. I mean, really get that, getting the vote out and stuff. But anyway, it's just an amazing time to see, people's voices, whatever they may be, being heard, and see something changing, which is awesome.
I agree. That's one thing I was just telling my immediate family about, actually probably more than once, that I've just been really stoked to see so many people just get out to vote, period.
Yeah.
They're talking about record numbers here in Washington State, and like almost 90% in King County. And
that's just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember voting back when I was, living in Seattle and stuff. And it seemed like no one was at the polls. It was just, that was in the, early '90s and stuff. So. Awesome.
Yeah, and when you think about that percentage, 9 out of 10 people voted. That's
incredible. Yeah,
it used to be like you couldn't pay someone to vote.
Yeah, they didn't want to be bothered with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So awesome. So yeah, just from that aspect alone, I think it's been really amazing to watch what's going on in America. People are definitely want their voice heard, whichever voice that is. They want it heard. So, yeah. All right, and it's Shooting Star.
So it's Shooting Star Skydiving Gear Superstore. So, but yeah, we sell skydiving gear, and I've been doing that for about 20 years. But yeah, that's it. In addition to playing drums, and I went from being trying to make it as a drummer, a musician, to falling into this business, and now I'm kind of trying to move back into the music business. So, but yeah, Shooting Stars skydiving and business. We sell skydiving gear.
Awesome. And I see Industrial Girl saying, I vote every election there has been since I was 18. Wow, that's awesome. Respect to you, because I wasn't one of those people. I actually waited until, but I was also someone that said I knew that I had no right to complain that if I wasn't voting. Yeah. But then I had enough when I got to 2008, and that's when I registered.
I had my mom. She was very vocal and all kinds of so. I remember, Cherry Brown, and I think my earliest, Jesse Jackson, and having buttons around the house. I mean, of vote. I mean, it's just, I feel like I've always been the same thing as, Industrial Girl, that I've been like involved in some aspect. And I've definitely flipped sides tens of times. And I feel like I vote for the person rather than the party, but it's it's just awesome to see all those people out there voting.
Yeah. And let's bring in, let's see, our next guest. She is a wonderful photojournalist from Vancouver, BC, co-founder of Metal Titans. She did an interview on the third leg of the Alice tour. And let's see, she joined me for her first fun table. That was right after the Alice tour finished. So that was with 3 photojournalists, which was a lot of fun, kind of talking shop and tour stories and being in the pit and all that kind of thing. So let's welcome in Char Tupper. Dun, da, da.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, good. How are you, Char?
Good, thank you. Very good. Nice to be back at the table.
Yeah, thank you for joining me at the table again. It's always fun having you here, and I love having another photojournalist. And Mike's got a musician, and he's been to tons of concerts too, and so has Sony. So we all have that in common for sure.
We all miss our concerts, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and I there's always a little method to my madness about who I ask to these things. I don't just randomly pick. Well, here's 3 people. Let's kind of hope for the best. It's kind of, well, no, let's put a little thought into this. I don't want a train wreck. Yeah, so this is. I'm glad that all 3 of you could make the time, because it's gonna I think be a really fun night for us. So, and let's bring in our third guest. Speaking of guests, and this guest, I almost said her name. This guest joined me on the Halloween edition on the 30th of October, so she was recently on. And she is a performance artist, and she's connected to the Mad Monster horror convention circuit. I know she performs at a couple of those. I ran into her at an extreme metal show here in Seattle because she was whipping me in the face with her hair, and I didn't know her at the time. And then,
we can all relate.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere like the very next show that I saw her at. We just started talking about bands or whatever, like you normally do at these kind of shows, and been friends with her ever since. So let's bring in Sony Voodoo.
Hi.
Hi, Sony.
Hi. I think you're never gonna forget the hair that I was hitting you with.
You know what it is? It's probably secretly because I'm jealous or something.
The irony there. The irony.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for having me again. It's really cool to be here.
Yeah, I so enjoyed having you during the Halloween show, and then technology kind of failed us. So hopefully, again, that it doesn't fail us today.
I hope no.
Yeah, because you're right in the middle of things with us, and then we started having some glitches and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Let's see, Industrial Girl missed the Halloween show. Well, it's still on YouTube, still on my Facebook.
Oh.
It's from the 30th if you want to go back and watch it. That was the first and actually only fun table where we had 4 guests at the same time at some point, not including me. So we had a lot to say.
Well, it's Friday the 13th, so it's kind of Halloween-ish day.
Yeah. And what's
I have a little Jason here. So.
That's cool.
And a hat too.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny. As soon as you showed the doll, I was like, "Wait, is her toque also Freddy?" Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I have my Jason mask from number 4 from the actor who signed it over at Crypticon. It's over here.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I could grab it, but I should have had him sign like the inside so I could wear it all the time, because it's signed on the outside, so you see the signature.
Makes it
Super
original.
menacing.
I like that.
Yeah. And also, for some reason, if you missed the Halloween show that Sony was a part of, the pets came out. Tony's cats came out.
Oh, nice.
Christiana's beagle came out. Mariah's new puppy, which was a miniature golden doodle, came out that she just got. And I think Erica brought out her dog, and so I was the only one who didn't bring my guinea pig out.
Oh, goodness.
I'm sure the guinea pig felt a little intimidated. Just a little.
Yeah. I know how she is. She wanted to stay in her room.
Sounds like my cat. If my cat was in the interview, it would be like meowing for like the whole 2 hours. Be like, pay attention to me for the whole 2 hours. I'd be like, forget it. It's not all about you.
I have
They are
my.
like that.
I'm just looking at this. Oh, no problem, Tony. Good to see you. There's the question. There's the one.
Hi, Tony. Oh, somebody
There
has
you
their Leatherface doll.
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah, for some of it, it's Halloween all year round. So
Yeah, we're always celebrating. So
That's right.
And
I
something
also want to give a horns to the other person that said behemoth on the side.
yeah,
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure that was in Denver.
Noticed it.
Girl. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I saw it. I saw you.
Yeah, it's been awesome that, for some of the folks like Industrial Girl and Tony that have been a part of the Alice tour, and then they saw my interviews during those 3 legs of interviews and everything else that was going on, that they know a lot of you, especially in Mike's case and Char's case, and eventually Sony's case too, because now this is her second fun table, that they're getting to know people, and then they connect with them through social media, so they start following people, and it's really cool that way. The same thing for me.
Yeah,
I'll see, it's completely expanded my world, and it's been awesome. So I really enjoy it.
Me too.
Hi there, Tony. Yeah.
It's definitely eclectic. I know every time I see you put new guests, I'm like, who's that? I'm like, it's awesome. Yeah, I love it.
I'm so fortunate that things happen the way they did. So even like today, with Yaz, who was my guest at noon, I got a press release about her show, and I don't even know how that publicist got a hold of me necessarily. And so somehow I got on his list, and I checked out her show, and I really liked it. And then I found her, and then said, hey, I happen to have some time this week if you'd be interested in doing an interview. And she said, oh yeah, I work from home. So we made it for Friday at noon, and
Nice.
off we went. But had I not been doing any of the film reviews, I never would have known who she was, or who her show was, or who she was. So I'm extremely grateful that organically things have happened. Just like, man, I couldn't have imagined some of the guests that I've been connected to. Same with the people yesterday. Adrian, producer of The Dark and the Wicked. There's a film that I reviewed. I happen to like it. Said, oh, some talent's available if you want to interview me. Okay, I'm interested. So,
Yes.
who do you have? And here's someone who's been producing films for over 20 years. So
Wow.
I want to talk to you.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
Peter did a film that I really liked, and he happened to be in Scotland. So I'm like, well, how am I going to do the time zone thing? Because I'm getting kind of used to this whole thing. And again, because of some COVID protocols, I found myself with time. So I'm like, hey, he said, can you do it at 6 p.m. my time? And I looked and said, well, that'd be 10 a.m. over here. Yeah, actually, I can do that if you want. So yeah, it just kind of worked out. So yeah, this has been one of the few silver linings of 2020. Yeah. Getting to meet new creatives and more about other creatives, and some people definitely know a lot about me now, which that they didn't know back in February or March or April.
Right.
And we were talking about this today, that this whole concept of using Zoom meetings, and if it's for family things or your friends or for business, and for school even. Man, we're kind of wondering, what's this going to do to folks down the road? Because I normally don't ever see how I look all the time. But now it's like in my face. Like I can see my nose is a little funny, and my ears are a certain way or whatever. And if you think about like maybe a 6-year-old kid who's doing virtual learning, they're seeing things all the time too, of how they look and how they act. And it's such a weird mirror to have. And I think Mike, actually, during your fun table, Steve brought that up. About this is just a different time. Sometimes too much, Mark. Hi, Mark's mom, if you're here. Yeah, you know what, Tony? I know she's here. I just talked to her earlier today, and she said, you're on a 7, right?
Yeah, Mom, I'm here.
Yeah, so
My mom said the same thing.
hi, Rita.
Like, hey.
Yeah, it's cool having supportive family members that are checking things out, even if it's just for a little while. I know some of my cousins have kind of drifted through Facebook for 10 minutes. Hey, what's Mark doing? Yeah, They see it for a little while. Like, okay, I've had enough.
Like, nah, I'll see him at Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Well,
I'll be fine.
yeah, not this year.
Not this year. Yeah. They said that in the beginning. Yeah. Now this is the virtual Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
And I've had mine already, so I don't even get a Thanksgiving. So
That's right. Being Canadian. That's right. You already had yours last month.
Oh, I didn't know that. So you celebrated. Oh, cool.
yeah,
Wow.
Thanksgiving's in October for us. So we have an extra month to like get over turkey to get to turkey again. I always wondered that. We have extra time to kind of get less turkey fat and then get back to it again in December. So
Yeah. So just so everybody knows, since we're talking, that's my mom. So if you see that from
hi,
Twitch,
Mark's mom.
yeah, that's my mom. We have that whole thing. I told that story fairly recently, where early on in the Alice tour, she was watching things and trying to watch the chat and Twitch and all that. And for some reason, the emoji that she put up didn't come out like a hand waving. It was this. And,
That's perfect.
and I was, I was
funny.
trying to find my feet and everything with that whole thing. So I was mortified because I was doing the interview or whatever. And then I saw that and I'm like, oh my God, you got to get rid of that. Go in there, get rid of that. Yeah.
Pretend you didn't see anything.
So we had this whole kind of thing where she was trying not to comment through Twitch because of
She was scared what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so far so good, Mom.
Just don't use the hand ones and you'll be fine.
Yeah, there we go.
Or the brown triangle that kind of looks like a pile of poo. Don't use that one. Don't use that one either. There's certain emojis that she shouldn't be using.
Yeah,
They should never come up early.
innocent mistake. Yeah, it absolutely was.
Yeah.
It was still mortifying to me at the time. Obviously now I don't give a shit. But at that time, I was still trying to figure things out and then trying to make sure I was doing it, Alice justice and all that. And all of a sudden, my mom's finger emoji comes up. Oh no! Yeah. Oh God. Somebody help me.
They were like, "Your mom's cool."
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Before I forget, Mike, are you drinking something?
I am. I've got. Well, it's almost gone. It did look like bourbon, but it's gin. It's a barrel aged gin. So, I love gin. So.
Okay.
So.
My sister-in-law loves gin. That's her spirit of choice.
Really? Yeah, I do a lot of just gin and tonic or just straight gin with the ice cube. Anyway, it's good. But this is like, it's definitely a darker gin. I did this flight one time at this this wine bar. They did a flight of gin for me, and that's where I found this barrel aged gin that's kind of like got a bourbon flavor to it. So it's great.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Sony or Char, what are you sipping on today? Water, alcohol?
Water.
Juice. Well, I also have water in an Alice in Wonderland tumbler thing to support my inner child. But yeah, I'm working tomorrow morning, so once again.
Yeah, I have an online thing tomorrow really early. It's I have to wake up like at 7. So Saturday, so I'm just drinking water.
I thought my 8:30 was bad, so kudos.
The thing is I like to drink a lot. I love it. So I if I drink one, I know that there is no way that I am just gonna have one. So.
It's never just one. It's never one.
So I better don't poke the devil.
Rather not tempt yourself to drink more.
Yeah. Mark, have you thought of having those drunk history except drunk fun table, where everyone gets plastered?
I'm in.
That would be good. Yeah, that would be good.
I'm in. It just has to be like a Tuesday, Wednesday, because those are my days off. So.
But you know what, Char? That actually might work because I think my nights off are going to be like Wednesday, Thursday, or something. So,
Wednesday it is. Yeah.
yeah,
He's already locking you in.
I'm in.
I just got to find someone else who's game.
Just see me out there getting like all this liquor. Like, what's she doing? I'm doing an interview.
It's an experiment to see
Right.
who can drink more.
It's part of the
Online.
drunk table session.
Drunk table. Yeah, that was cool actually. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
I'm
no,
in. Totally in.
Thanks for the idea, Mike. I honestly never thought about that until right now.
You're right this minute.
I can always count on my friends to be good influences on me.
Right. It's either gonna like bomb or something.
Yeah, watch me knock my phone over, and then everything doesn't happen. Then
Yeah, the camera's this way. It's like
Everyone's cameras is just on the floor, and you can just hear you random yelling and screaming. Yeah.
yeah,
Or you see someone passed out, like half in the camera, they're half
Right.
passed out. Yeah.
yeah,
You see their legs.
lights turn off and stuff.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah, and then the camera goes off. All you hear is kind of weird sounds coming from that.
Exactly. It's just gonna be a bunch of noises, and people will be like, try and decipher the noises. Yeah.
Well, that's just like I think Char with the fun people that you were a part of. We were talking about like what are people going to be doing like on New Year's Eve. So
This is it.
I'll just do a free for all. Whoever wants in,
Yeah.
I'll just put you in.
Yeah.
Keep adding
Like
people.
30 little squares.
Oh man, that's not a bad idea.
And then you can get the people who comment on the side to partake, and then they also drunk text on the side. And then it's just whatever comments are going on. It's just drunkenness, drunken anarchy.
Oh man, yeah, the
I'm
idea is
in.
there now. So
Right? It's the end of 2020. It's like appropriate way to end 2020.
Get all the garbage out.
Yeah, just throw it out.
That's true.
And some entertainment at the same time. Why not?
Yeah, and always, I think always like drinking is better if you have like somebody else like there with you.
True.
Social
True.
drinking, yeah.
Yeah, no,
It's more
absolutely.
fun. It's more fun, especially if the other people is drinking too. It's really fun.
Right?
Yeah.
All the pets will judge us from a distance. They'll all judge. My cat will just sit there and be like, I've been wanting food for hours. Like, hello.
Oh.
That too.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. That's what I've talked about too. That typically I don't drink unless I'm doing. Unless I was doing an interview with on Alice's tour or doing the fun tables, because I don't live with anybody else, and I don't socially. I socially drink. I don't drink on my own.
Same here.
Yeah, even pre-pandemic, it's just like I don't. Luckily, I'm not one of those people. That could have gone south really, really fast.
That's very true. I'm the same way. I only drink at shows, and it would be after I'm done shooting. I wouldn't drink as I shot because I had a bad experience once, and one time was enough to know that you do not drink and try and photograph a band with strobe lights at the same time.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
Oh my goodness.
It was hilarious for my friends, but it was not fun for me.
Yeah, they're still fun for them.
Yeah, it's still fun for them. It's still fun for them.
Oh my goodness.
Especially when they're not shooting, so they just drink anyway. They don't care. I'm the one that's like, look at this. It just went south so fast.
I had that same issue, and it was I didn't have that many beers, but I had enough where it was too much before a show that I had to shoot, and there wasn't really anybody there at the club, but it was still like, man, I could tell when I was just trying to frame my shots and everything. Like, okay, this is kind of stupid. I better remember not to do this again.
Don't do it. Just don't do it.
Yeah, get the shots first, then you have fun.
Then you drink. Yeah.
Then you have fun at the end. Yeah. It's so much easier.
Yeah, work first.
It is.
Fun later.
It's almost like a weird feeling because I remember that about it when I was trying to frame the shot. It was almost like you got dizzy trying to focus on it. Like you'd be like, you just start spinning. You're like, I can't do this anymore. I was definitely at the point where I had way too many, but This is why you don't try and compete with a European band that's used to drinking heavily. And then you're like, I'm going to do it too. And then it just was such a bad idea. We like to reminisce of that every time they came to town.
My cat has seen some shit.
Yeah, no doubt. It's the animals see all of it.
Yeah, they know.
That'd be cool.
They're probably already mentally prepared for the drunken tables.
Yeah.
They're probably already ready. They just push
Yeah,
their
the
little
thing is,
food
like-
dish. Yeah.
The thing is, like, cats don't care. It's like, yeah.
Oh no.
They just like,
Yeah.
they will be worried if you haven't fed them before getting too drunk. Then you're
They're like,
like,
can you feed me
Yeah.
before you get drunk? Then I don't care.
yes, yes.
And whatever you do to
You know what I
yourself,
mean?
I don't
Yeah.
care. Yeah.
I have
Yeah,
one
it's like-
cat. I have one
You have
cat
one
that says, "Oh, you think that's bad? Let me show you how I can puke." Man.
The spiteful cat.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
yeah.
he can let it
Actually,
go.
yeah.
Mm.
Actually, it's more the competitive cat, I guess, at that point.
Yeah,
And it's
it could be.
competing to throw up more
That's
than
right.
you.
Let me show you what I. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
It's the egotistical, like, I am the best.
That's right. Exactly.
Oh, they are masters. They masterize the puking and the regurgitating.
Right?
Yeah.
Although I always laugh because my cat's never had a hairball, and all my friends are like, "Oh, my cat's always had a hairball," and I'm like, "My cat seems fine." I don't know.
I have 2 long hair cats, so he has so much fur. So
Oh,
he
man.
constantly. So I have to, even if I groom him, like he, like throws a lot of hairballs, and I have
Oh.
a short hair too, and he doesn't have one. Probably once a year, one. But
Yeah.
the other cat he constantly has.
Yeah,
hair
mine's
balls.
short hair too. Mine's short hair, so
Yeah.
he's never had one since I've had
No,
him.
I never had it.
We're going on
Yeah.
5 years, so he's either trying to see how long he can not have a hairball, or he just never had one. He's competing with himself. It's like, I will not puke.
Yeah.
But
That's cool.
But
it's
we have-
nice. I'm not gonna lie, it's nice.
We have 2 Bengals, and they don't. Neither of them do hairballs, but one of them likes to puke all the time. I'm like, come on!
That's
It's
the
almost like
one.
right before you're like about to go somewhere, or someone's coming over, you're like, come on! Oh my
That's
goodness.
that jerk cat, I tell you.
Yeah,
It's competitive and kind of a jerk.
yeah, exactly.
Although it's not, I'm sure he's nice most of the time, but
He
he's
is.
just
He's
being
like
a
a
jerk
little-
when he's like, no.
He's like a little dog. He just runs up to everybody. But yeah, he likes to puke.
It's the most metal cat I've ever met. I've ever heard of anyway.
Oh, that thing with the industrial girl says that her cat is a short hair and that he leaves the hair on her. I have that problem
Guilty.
too. It's like every day I have to like clean
yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
like twice or 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess so with long hair. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's white. It's so
Oh.
white. Like,
See, we have a dog that sheds just like everywhere. That's the same thing because I was mostly black, and it's
Yeah.
always like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
yes,
I know.
I
I
always have fur in my clothes, like
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
Like,
Doesn't matter. Even if you just washed your clothes, you take it out
Oh,
of
yeah.
the wash, and you're like, there's
Okay.
still cat hair.
Exactly.
What is happening?
Yeah. Yeah, the link carrier is all hair, but there's still more on the clothes still.
Oh,
yeah.
Totally.
Well, I even know this from when I used to house sit my parents' dogs a couple of times. That even after those dogs had passed, I would and I'd wash my hoodie umpteen times.
No.
I'd still
No.
find that hair that would come out. I was like,
That's what that love keeps on giving.
yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, what hair? Oh, this is from their dogs.
Just like, how long has this been here?
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll get to see this on Sunday in terms of Sony because we finally have our photo shoot together, and I'll get to see how much cat hair is on her outfit.
I always carry one of those rollers that are sticky
yeah.
roll. Because I know that happened. Like sometimes I take pictures and I'm like, oh, I can see the fur of my
I know. The one downfall of pro cameras, they capture those little cat hairs that just sneak in.
Yeah.
And they weave in there.
Yeah. Focuses on that, and everything else is blurry. But the his cat hairs in focus.
Right.
Yeah, I'll be looking from 6 feet away, by the way. So.
You mean you're not going to stand like 2 inches? Like right there?
Oh man, but I'm looking forward to doing that. We talked about that during Sony's fun table when she was here a couple of weeks ago. That it kind of dawned on me that we'd been talking off and on about doing this photo shoot, and it's like, oh shit, I need to make this. I need to make this happen. I'm looking forward to the fact that even if the weather's not cooperating, we still have some areas that we can work on where you're going to stay dry and all that, and we'll be out there for at least an hour and get some shots finally done. So
nice.
Yeah, it'll be cool, and actually that kind of weather kind of works for what we'll be shooting anyway. You know, if it's gray out and kind of dark and ominous, and
they always say overcast is the best weather if you're doing portraits and stuff because it's not so harsh on your face all the time. So that's my favorite weather to shoot in, but it always depends too. So
yeah, it's good too. So I'm not a bit too shiny, like for the sweat and all that.
Yeah, if it's too hot and stuff, then Sony would be like sweating to death, and she's just like, I'm done. I want to go home.
Yeah, if anything, it'd be the opposite. It'd be like, it's too cold out here or whatever.
Right.
Too wet, too windy. But yeah, absolutely. I love it, when it's gray because it diffuses the sunlight and all that. Even like with my ring light that I use, I actually have parchment paper over to help diffuse it. So it just, it'll be fun. And I haven't done a whole lot. The summer has been like a handful of model-based shoots. So it'll be fun to do that side of things, which is what my foundation is, well before doing concerts or any of that other stuff. So that'll be cool. Oh. I'm happy the weather changed here. I hate the heat. Yeah, down in East LA where you're at. Just bump the ISO and go. Yeah, Tony would know, being a photographer as well. Tony, have you been shooting anything over there on the East Coast? You can put that into the chat. I'm just kind of curious. So what I'm just curious. What are people doing? All this talk about, for some of us, for Thanksgiving this month.
Other than me, because I've already had mine.
Christmas.
Too late for me.
Mike,
your immediate family's there, so that's a plus. You already have some folks.
My mom and dad live, within like 5 miles, 6 miles of us, but they're still staying fairly like remote and just. My mom's really cautious right now. My dad's gone through some health issues, and they're just trying to like stay as much isolated. I still go over and see them, but my wife's brother lives in Tennessee, and we usually see them every Thanksgiving. And my wife has gone back and forth. She said, "Come on down." Then she's like, the next day, "No, just stay there." "No, come on down." So I don't know. I think they're going to come down. We're not quite sure. Because it's them, and then they have 2 daughters, and we have 2 boys, and it's just great having them together as cousins and stuff. And then we always see them twice a year, but we didn't do anything this summer because of COVID. And we think we're going to go ahead and try this Thanksgiving, but I don't know. I mean, Georgia all of a sudden has seen an uptick in COVID, so it's like, I don't know. It's kind of crazy, but we think they're going to come for Thanksgiving, but I don't know. We may change our minds tomorrow. I don't know. But it's funny. Back in here, Industrial Girl was saying that she doesn't like turkey. I saw that. But that's funny because we've been talking about that. And my wife finally admitted like a couple weeks ago, she's like, whatever we're doing for Thanksgiving, I'm not doing a turkey. I'm so sick of turkey. I don't even like turkey. So like we're trying to figure out something different to do instead of turkey. So she's like, let's do steaks or let's do sushi. Let's do something different. So I don't know what we're going to do for the meal.
Okay.
I'm not there to vote, but I vote steak.
Yeah.
I'm not there, but steak's my number
Steak's
one.
good, yeah.
So.
I know
I'm
you
gonna
get on
do-
the grill and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do steak. I'm gonna grill steak.
Steak, that's
Right?
right.
Yes, but I will have to do turkey too because my son wants turkey, and I told him we are not having turkey this year, and he was like, "What? No!" And I was like,
Surprise.
"Okay," but I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna make it, but I want you to prepare because we are gonna eat it probably after that for 3 weeks or so."
Yeah.
So I mean, like
So
turkey
true.
sandwiches, it's awful. I don't like it, but he wants
Yeah.
turkey. Okay.
Kind
know,
of
I'm
like I was
trying to,
saying
like,
earlier.
say-
too.
Can we find like a mini turkey, like a Cornish game hen
You
size
know, I
Yeah.
have tried to find a smaller, but they are like huge and like.
turkey? Oh yeah.
Right?
I mean, if it's just for 2 people, it's like it's too much. It's too
Just
much.
buy like those turkey dinners, those frozen turkey dinners.
Oh yeah. Like
That. I was thinking like if I find like
Yeah.
it's a small breast or something, I will get that because
Right?
that is, yeah. It's
I like
Like,
the
I mean,
turkey.
through the
like,
hassle.
Yeah.
yeah.
do the hungry man, get a few of those,
Yeah.
get the turkey, and then you do it.
Yes,
Done.
yes, but I am doing my steaks. It's like there is no way that I am not
Steaks.
gonna have
Oh,
my
yeah.
whole steaks.
Oh yeah, steak's
like
number
that.
1 in my book.
Oh
I
yes,
absolutely love
mine
it.
too,
Yeah.
mine too. It's like, yeah, it's the way to go.
Yeah.
Cool. So we have some meat eaters here, obviously.
Clearly not a
Oh,
single
yeah.
vegan here.
yeah.
Sorry to any vegan that may be in the chat. They
Yeah.
probably just left. We're like, my brother's vegan. He just recently became vegan, and he was talking about how he's like, oh yeah, there's like a portobello mushroom thing that you can have, and it's like steak. I'm like, it's not steak.
Oh my God.
I hate mushrooms personally, so I'm like, I'm not gonna eat a mushroom, and I'm not giving up steak. I'm sorry, I can't
It's
do
not the
it.
same. It's not the same. And one of the things, I mean, I have several vegan friends, and it's nothing against them, but I don't like when they try like to convince you, and I'm like, it doesn't matter how many links or videos you send me. Like I love meat so much, I love dairy so much. But it's gonna give you cancer and blah blah blah. Whatever, dude. They're like, you're not gonna. They're like, try this. It tastes like meat. Right. And I am like, no, it doesn't.
No.
Yeah. It does. I'm like, no, and it sounds super oily, and it's like, no.
No.
Like, give me ribeye. No.
And I'm the same. Nothing against vegans or anything, but it was just like, my brother was like, it even has the effect where like when you cut into the mushroom, it kind of has that bleed out. I'm like, no, if it's not red like the cow was, it's not the same.
They put so much effort. It's crazy. They spend hours for trying to emulate the dairy or the meat, and it's like, why are you doing that? It's like,
Why?
they take like hours like doing the meal, and just because they want to try to emulate the effect, and it's like, it doesn't make sense, but well, they are happy that way. So.
If they're happy, then go for it.
Let's be happy. But
I still eat the cow at the end of the day, so it's fine.
I have tried like those
No.
vegan eggs, and I have tried the vegan chicken and the vegan eggs, and you name it, and it's just not the same. I'm sorry, it doesn't
It's
take the
not.
same at all.
No.
Well, let me address a few things. So, Tony, it's great to see that you did the one model shoot, and you said you have one coming up for next weekend. That's awesome. I can't wait to see some of your shots probably show up on Instagram. Yeah, I don't like people preaching to me about anything, really. So if that's your thing, great, no problem. But I don't want to hear you trying to convince me that I need to be, let's say, vegan or something else, whatever it is. That's do your thing, I'll do my thing. But this is interesting for all of us. So I'll put this here, what Tony asked.
Oh, that's a good question.
What would you have?
That
for
is a very
last
good
meal?
question.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I like so many things that it's hard for me to choose.
I don't know if the restaurant's in the States, but it's called S&L here in Canada. It's a chain of restaurants, at least in BC, that I'm aware of. And they have like steak and They also have like this crispy Brussels sprouts, and I'm not usually a Brussels sprouts fan, but they do it so well that it's so good. And then like garlic mashed potatoes. Like that would be my happy meal. I'd be good.
Yeah.
Go to McDonald's. Can I have a steak?
Oh,
I just realized I said happy meal, and I'm like, just go to McDonald's. Hi, I would like a steak and mashed potatoes. But no, that would definitely be my go-to meal for when I die. And that's the last moment. Yeah.
Mike or Sony?
So my wife brought to the relationship this thing called poppy seed chicken, and it's tricolor rotini noodles, and it's chicken and poppy seed dressing, and that's it. There's like 3 ingredients. That's it. But it's the Marzini's poppy seed dressing. There's like a certain poppy seed dressing that just goes great. And for whatever reason, so I run a lot, and I do these like ultras that are like, 60 to 100 miles. And when I need something where I feel like I'm gonna die, that's it. I'm like, I want the poppy seed chicken. I want the noodle with the poppy seed and chicken, and I can eat that stuff all day long, cold, hot, whatever. But that's my last meal.
Nice.
Nice.
And Sony?
For me, it definitely will be grilled ribeye in mesquite wood. It has to be grilled in mesquite wood. Yeah, and it's some kind of baked potato that we made in Mexico. We stuff it with a cheese that is very similar to the mozzarella, and then you have like bacon on top and carne asada and sour cream. So I will have that. That will be my. And probably
that sounds great.
That does sound really good.
I rarely drink it, but probably I will have like a Coca-Cola.
Right. I'm a Pepsi fan, but I guess I should add that as my beverage choice.
If it's gonna be, it's gonna be the last. So okay.
I will add that my last drink would be cherry Pepsi. Yeah. It would be cherry Pepsi is mine because we don't. Yeah. It's funny because before the pandemic, we started to get cherry Pepsi up in Canada, but then the pandemic hit and it was like they stopped shipping it here. So now there's no cherry Pepsi.
Oh, no.
I'm like, I miss cherry Pepsi.
There's a black market for it.
It's me. Same with USA Taco Bell. It's 10 times better than the Canadian Taco Bell.
Wow.
I'd be so in for that.
Oh, I saw the calzone. So we do these, who is that? Someone saying something about steak calzone.
Yeah, that's Tony.
So we do these family calzones. That's our family night. When we do calzones, in fact, we did them last night, and we get the pizza dough from the supermarket and then put all this stuff on it and just make our own calzones. So everyone does their own calzones. That would rival up there with the last meal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That sounds actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Calzone sounds pretty good.
Oh yeah.
It's been a long time since I've had one, so.
Oh my goodness.
There are so many good things. It's just hard to choose one meal.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, it is really hard. Because now, what would be your last dessert? Mine would be a Dairy Queen ice cream cake, like the whole cake. I'm eating the whole thing. Like I don't even care.
I'd be in the same place. I'd be a Dairy Queen, but I'd be getting the or not the Blizzard. Oh my goodness.
Exactly. The Blizzard ice cream cakes are so amazing. That's usually my birthday tradition, though. So really.
That's nice.
Now my last dessert probably will be like some crepes with Nutella and big.
Oh, Nutella!
And and a butter pecan ice cream on top of the crepe.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh.
I feel like when COVID's over, we all have to meet in the middle somewhere. Just have like this huge plate of table of food, and we're like, here we go.
Here's our last meal.
Here's our last meals. It's multiples, but that's okay. It's our last one anyway.
Yeah,
we'll probably only make it halfway through the table and then die from a heart attack or something. So that's it.
I miss the Indian buffet. Like I have one Indian buffet really close that I was dying one time, like for real, from overeating there. I ate too much, and I thought I was gonna die. It was so funny because I mean it was so good. It was the first time that I was there, and they have this bread like they make in there in the oven, so it was just fresh and hot and so delicious, and everything was delicious, everything. And I ate too much, and there was a point that I felt that I couldn't breathe. Because I ate too much. Yes, I thought that I was having a heart attack or something like that. I don't know. It was weird.
Like
I never feel like that before. And then
what do they call that? Like meat sweats or something? It's not like meat sweats or something. Similar idea.
Probably. I mean, it was weird. I just felt like, and then the waitress noticed that something was wrong, and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No." And she asked me, and I told her I can't breathe.
Oh no,
that's not good. That's not good.
And then she's like, "Do you want me to call an ambulance?" And I was like, no, not quite yet. So I just stepped.
Maybe in 5.
And then I started walking,
get another plate.
I went
exactly.
I went to the bathroom and I just burped a little, like a few times, and then I started feeling better. So I think it was just gas, or I don't know, like the food was
like heartburn and like indigestion. Yeah,
the food was trying to go down, but I think it was too much. And then I just told her, "No, I feel good. I feel good." But I was walking so slowly because I couldn't even walk. I was like so full.
That's the worst feeling.
When I get out, I was just walking like really slow because I couldn't even walk. But before that, I texted a couple of friends like, "Dude, I think I'm dying," and they are like,
no.
And I'm like, I can't breathe. What are you in a buffet? And one of my friends in a buffet, in the Indian buffet. And one of those friends that I texted, she started laughing a lot because we used to go together to eat, and we used to eat like a lot when we were younger. And she started laughing. I was like, "Oh, like in the old days." I'm like, "Yeah, I tried that again." So
it's so depressing. When you get older, you can't do that.
I got scared, but at the same time, like if I will die there, I think I will be just too happy because the food was so good. So I regret nothing.
It was all good.
It was worth it.
I regret nothing, and I will do it again as soon as I open it.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I miss the place. They don't have the buffet anymore.
I hope they don't go out of
business. Yeah, but it's not the same.
It's not, no. Training at home is not the same.
No, even if you go for the takeout, I feel like it's not the same. Like you see everything there and eat it. Oh, so good.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. When you order takeout from a restaurant, it's not the same as when you're in the restaurant. Yeah.
No, especially in a buffet.
Well,
that's very true. Yeah.
Yeah, I miss it.
Sony, your whole story of the Indian buffet that I remember a long time ago, probably like 2006, 2007. One of the models I knew well from California was up here visiting her boyfriend, so we did a shoot, and it was around lunchtime. So she was like, "God, I'm starving." And she wanted Indian food, so I said, "Well, I haven't been to this buffet, but we can go try it." And she's like, "Okay, cool." And it was in Linwood. And I've never. It may have been the same place for all I know.
Probably was. Probably at the same time. Yeah,
I was going to say that I think there was a woman having some sort of issue at a booth or something. I'm just kidding. But I just remember, I mean, my model friend was probably like 90 pounds, and she must have put away like 6 plates. I mean, like full plates of food. I'm like, where is that food going? And she's like, "Mark, it's so good. It's so good. I can't stop."
Oh, goodness.
And I'm just kind of picturing Sony doing the same thing. And you know what's interesting, Tony? You mentioned Mad Elf during one of the fun tables.
It's so good.
Yeah, Tony, you mentioned Mad Elf, and I actually looked in my my area of cellared beer. I have one. I have one bottle of Mad Elf. I don't know if it's any good, and I don't know what year it is, but I still have one from a friend that was on the East Coast. But yeah, that's from Trogs, I want to say, right? Mad Elf. But anyway, I'm on a beer tangent. I'm just looking at the comments here. I was going to tell Sony that's a sign of a good meal when you can't walk and you can't breathe.
I think I saw someone say something about food coma on the side. That seems pretty legit. It seems like some of the symptoms, anyway, of a true food coma.
Food coma, yeah. She ate her weight in food. Yeah.
No kidding.
She was going through all of it, all the masalas and all the everything.
Right.
Oh,
I had a friend in high school that was like that. She had like insane fast metabolism. Like she could put away so much food, and she never got over like 100 pounds. Like it was just insane. And she also had a really good center of balance. And I'm like I feel like I'm 3 times her size, and she could just tap me and I'd fall over. And she's so small that you think you'd bump her and she'd blow away in the wind. So small. Like it was just like, oh my God. And then I felt kind of weak when I fell over. Like, well, I swear I haven't been drinking. I was only in high school, so I had not been drinking.
Oh.
I was a good student. I was a good student as I
was thinking back to the earlier part of this discussion about not having turkey for Thanksgiving, and Mike, you remember Ken Puckett from I can't remember what his family ate, but I remember I think it was his mom did not like turkey, so they never had turkey to my knowledge. They always had, like, I thought he said it was lasagna, or they had something. And at the time I thought, well, that's kind of odd, but then when I thought about it, I was like, well, no, eat what you like. That makes the most sense. It's about the family and the people you have together more than food necessarily. But at the time he's like, we have Thanksgiving lasagna or whatever.
Thanksgiving lasagna.
I'd be down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Pasta, so
anything but turkey. Like, I think like the turkey only tastes like really, really good at the time, like at the moment. But then if you have to heat it after, it's not that good anymore.
When you have so much leftovers, you get sick of it so fast.
You try and do turkey sandwiches. You can't recreate that meal.
No, it's not the same.
No.
But I think it's like, so that's the other thing is, like, my wife is like, it's not about the turkey, it's about all the sides. It's like about the, sweet potatoes and all that type of stuff. And like, let's just do sides of Thanksgiving. So I don't know. That's another thing I might do.
Yeah, well, Industrial Girl just said the same thing, that she always ate the sides and eat the turkey, Mike. So that's exactly what you're talking about. Bring on the stuffing and the
I absolutely love the potato. I'm the same. I love the stuffing. I love the yams. I love the veggies. The turkey's there because it's the meat. Because I'm a meat person, as we discussed earlier. But you know what? It's still like I jump to stuffing before I jump to the turkey.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Stuffing with some gravy, done.
Oh, yeah, done. Add that to last meal.
Yeah.
Add that to the table.
Yeah. That's the best. That's the best.
Oh, boy. Oh, no, I hate stuffing, too.
Oh, no.
We are right there with you. We're right there with you.
And then the stuffing got thrown in. And
no.
Different strokes. That's cool. No problems. More for me.
I was going to say, I guess I'll just do that here.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, boy. So that's okay.
So now I'm hungry, but
no
big deal.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
Now go make turkey or something. I was going to go make some steak.
Yeah, because I haven't eaten dinner. So all this food talk is like, oh my goodness. Wow. So let's see here. So Mike talked about his in-laws from Tennessee might be coming, may not, just kind of depends, and nieces and that kind of thing. And then Sony said she's going to make turkey because of her son, but she'd rather not.
What are you doing, Mark? What are you doing for Thanksgiving?
You know what? Our family talked about it because we get together like on Saturdays virtually, and I don't really know what we're doing, because at one point we were talking about not doing anything. And then I think last weekend my brother was talking with the idea of maybe he's going to make some stuff, and then with the help of the rest of us, and kind of put something together. But I think that's more for us to like bring to our dwellings, not to have it together, because my mom's high risk. So we're not going to be doing anything around the house. That much I know. My brother, his wife, and myself, we're moderate risk. So yeah, we'll probably end up doing there'll be some sort of turkey eaten. That's all I got. What that looks like or where it's from, I don't really know yet. We probably figured that out. But
turkeys will be devoured. Yeah, that's what we know.
There'll be some level of it, even if it's something that was frozen. I don't know.
Hungry man.
Yeah, we'll get our piece of things that are related to it, and and probably the same thing actually for Christmas too. That we're usually there for the entire day, but I just don't see that happening, at least from our end of things, in terms of trying to be smart about COVID and all that stuff. So that's just what it is. But I mean, it's supposed to be like if you take one for the team now, so that we can do normal stuff next year. That's kind of how I've been looking at it. So I was like, okay, it's going to be kind of wonky this year, but hopefully next year at the same time, you're back to, if it's aunts and uncles or cousins or whoever, at your table, all the stuff that you normally do or hopefully like doing. Because some people are thinking, thank God this happened because now I don't have to see some of my relatives during the holidays. They have a reason for them not to show up. So you have to think about
I enjoy seeing mine, but I enjoy seeing my relatives. And like for myself, my brother and my sister-in-law, my nephew, I see them rarely, but with my nephew only being 2, I work full time, and my sister-in-law is a nurse, so you try and limit the exposure that he gets. So we only see each other once in a while, but I babysit maybe once every few weeks or so. My mom usually takes the rest. Plus, she's grandma, so there's no winning against grandma. I'm just an aunt.
I haven't had dinner either. My mom is high risk too, and I take her. Okay, so that makes everyone's kind of doing what they need to do. Just trying to find that balance of being smart, but also still maybe having some level of something that you like about the holidays or what have you. We have people here that are all into extreme things in terms of music or metal or punk, or at some point they like that kind of stuff, especially these two right here. that they have a real interest.
I like that you don't even have to point to me. I'm just like, hey.
Your shirt kind of gives it away.
And the fact that I had to mention it earlier, I had to give the shout out to the person who said it. Just be like, hey, like we're BFFs now.
Now it's 3 of us. What happened to Sony? Oh no,
Sony.
Her Wi-Fi got attacked.
Yeah, she was laughing.
COVID.
See if we got her back here. Dun, da, da.
Hey.
Sorry, I think Hey!
Don't touch anything.
I'm back.
The last time we had.
I didn't touch anything.
Sit perfectly still. Don't move. No pressure.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
Last Friday, our guest.
I will stay here. I don't know what is it. It's like.
Last Friday, our guest at the fun table.
Yeah, I don't know why, and it's weird. Like this laptop. Yeah.
We could see him, but we couldn't hear him, and so we kept messing with it and messing. Eventually, we got it to work, and he was like, "Jesus Christ!" It took like 10 minutes and everything. He's like, "That's so embarrassing." I said, "Well, it's not your fault. That's some kind of technology issue going on." So,
Well, hey, last time, like I literally, what was I in? Like the interview, like you just introduced me, like 2 minutes in, because like our province was in the middle of provincial elections, so we had like. My phone rang. I never get a house call on my house phone, and it literally rang 2 minutes in. And I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, that's
like, what are the odds? I don't get a phone call in like a week. I have a cell phone. Most people use my cell phone, and it's on mute. But no, the one time they're like, Elections Canada, would you like to vote for me? No. Hang on. Not now.
Yeah.
That's right, because I was trying to introduce Lisa, and your phone was, and I was like, "What's going on over there?" Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
It was funny. Lisa and I have become friends since.
Oh, so this is interesting. You still have a
house phone, yeah, no doubt. I was thinking the same
thing.
thing.
I'm dating myself here.
Yeah, I got rid of my landline. Gosh, I don't know how long ago that was.
A house phone.
I know. I like to keep it old school. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It just kind of sits there, and it's funny. It's had its practical moments because sometimes my phone hasn't worked properly or whatever, so people still can at least reach me here. But
Sure.
or it's another number that if I'm like, I really don't want to give out my phone number here. Like if like a business or something, or like even if it's like when you sign up for things online, you go, wow, they ask for phone numbers, so here you go. Here's one. Even though I guess I could use McDonald's or something, but no. They probably catch on pretty quick that they're like, there's no Charlene at this McDonald's. We keep asking for this lady, and they keep saying there isn't someone here.
It's funny because so we have 2 boys, and we're twins, and they're 15. Is it 15 now? Yeah, they're 15 now, and they when they first wanted a phone, which was like as early as like 6th or 7th grade, it was crazy. It was like, no, we'll get you a phone. So we got them a landline. We're like, we're putting the landline back in. They're like, you can't even call cell phones from this. We're like, yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can. It's not a rotary phone. I will give credit. It's not a rotary phone. Like,
how are your twins doing with the
the thing phone? Is like if you don't want to
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Sony.
Oh, I'm breaking again. Oh no, I was gonna say like even if you want to keep your kids away from the technology, like nowadays it's almost impossible because in the school they are giving them like devices for them to do everything, especially now that they are doing it from home. So it's like they know everything now. Like my son is like, oh, I want to make a TikTok, and so
right,
like all his friends do the same thing.
Yeah, we felt like we kept it one more year than than like it seemed like everyone else was. We held on. We had one other set of parents is like, we're holding on too. It was like we were the whole last holdouts. Like, fine. You know, it's like I think it was 7th grade we finally relented. But yeah, no, it's everywhere. It's just like teaching responsibility and how to use it, and not go down those rabbit holes or end up in some weird places. And so
set limits, like time limit, like time limits, and that's it.
What a VHS is. I'm sorry, I just read the comment. That says, I grew up with those, so that's funny. It's like, oh god.
Yeah.
One of the horror movies that I reviewed back in April, they contracted a company to put out a VH version of it. Now 2020. So I'm like, and I understand, the horror fans, they love to collect VHS and stuff. But I thought, wow, is that really a VHS tape that they put out new?
Just like, wow.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but it's also kind of interesting too.
Right?
And it made sense because the film was kind of like an 80s horror throwback, so it made sense to have it in that format.
Yeah.
I still have a VCR that works too.
Yeah.
Special Girl said
so do I. Yeah.
I have one in the basement.
Me too.
In fact, I played. I tried to get the boys down here to come watch it. I played Attack of the Killer Tomatoes on it. I still had that in a VHS tape.
Nice.
Oh my goodness.
Nice.
That's cool.
That's hilarious. Yeah. I've got the original 3 Star Wars in VHS still.
Cool.
So I've watched it like when they do like Star Wars marathons, or like if a new Star Wars movie comes out, I'm like, I'm gonna go retro and watch the VHS. And then go to the DVDs for the others, but
I know. And then it's not working as well. So then I'm like, where's that VHS cleaner? And I'm looking for like, do I still have that? And I'm like trying to throw that and get it to work and the tape line. Oh my goodness.
And then the VHS cleaner's damaged, and you're like,
oh
no! Damn it!
They still sell those.
Do they? I haven't actually.
I'm sure you can on like Amazon or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Amazon or something. I imagine you can't just run to Walmart and it's like, VHS.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Be like trying to buy a house phone at Walmart. Oh, we don't sell those either anymore. It's on Amazon. Go there.
They're like, what is that?
What is the term house phone? You mean cell phone, right? No, a house phone. Like, oh no, we don't sell it here.
Blown to the cassette.
Yeah.
I remember we used to have one of those rewinders. That's all it did. You know, it cost
Like in the
Yeah.
Nintendo.
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Put your blockbuster tape in there, or whatever, and just rewind to bring it back before you got charged that fee.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, the fee.
Yeah, crazy.
And it's funny, like speaking of cassette tapes, I'm thinking
And then
of
always like you wanted to rent a title and they didn't have it.
Oh, that was the worst when you would like go to the like Blockbuster and it would look like it was behind it and you'd lift it and you'd be like, it's not. It's gone. That was the worst feeling.
I know, the empty cases.
They
What's
don't
up with
have
that?
it, yeah.
Like, why? Just put the name of the movie on the case.
Yeah.
How hard was that? I don't need to see what the cover looks like. I don't care.
I worked at
That's so strange.
I worked
Right?
at a mom.
Gosh.
I worked at a mom and pop video store right out of high school, just on
Yeah.
just on the weekends, and I still remember kind of like the
Oh,
customers
cool.
that would come in, and we weren't a Blockbuster, we were a mom and pop thing. So like if a new release came out, we only had like 5 copies versus 70 copies.
Yeah.
But then there'd always be some pissed off customer coming in because they wanted that new release. They saw that it was coming out or whatever. So let's say it was like Wall Street or something back in 1985, and they're like, "I want Wall Street." And it's like, "Oh, all 5 of our copies are out," because you can see that we used to put the these little like rubber band things around the boxes, the empty boxes, so it's like I said, rented or out or whatever, not available.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, don't you have one in the back? It's like, no.
No.
What you see is what
No.
we have. I don't have a specific stash of new releases.
Yeah.
That you can pay me some money under the table to get one extra. To get one. I don't have one.
Like a black market
inventory.
Yeah, it was so weird. And then you get the people that would ask about, so I'm kind of in the mood for like a drama, comedy, horror
Oh my
film.
God.
Can you recommend something? And I'm like,
No.
Can you pick one genre?
There is no movie that exists that has all of the mush to one. Not that I can think of.
Yeah.
I guess Scary Movie is kind of horror comedy. That's really the only one I can think of that has kind of got 2 together. But even so, it's not like it's actually scary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just spin-offs of the others. But
we had this one regular customer. I don't remember her name, but I remember her face. Because she would come in. Yeah, it was every Saturday, and she'd see me working, or it could be a Sunday, and she'd ask the same type of things. Well, I saw the one, the one that you recommended last week, and it was kind of So this week, what else you got for me? And again, we're like, it's like, I don't have anything else new for you. I mean, it's the same shit that I said last week. I thought this movie was good. Maybe you don't like that kind of movie. So that's why I kind of start picking through. What do you think is good? Then I can kind of work from that. And if I don't know those films, then we're fucked. I mean,
like, I don't know.
I used to go to the video place every Friday and get 2 movies. That's when it wasn't there.
It is really fun to work in those stores.
It's true. I would have been one of those like people that worked there and been like,
I used to work in a record store.
Oh, a record store would be hard. Yeah, because then people would be like, "What kind of music do you like?" And I'd be like, "I don't know. What do you look like? You don't look like a heavy metal person to me."
Yeah, no, it was
So I'm not gonna push what I like
they
on you.
used to sell movies.
Yeah, like
yeah, and they used to sell movies there too. So we had every kind of people going, and they were like the ones that start asking you things, and the ones that stay there for hours and don't buy anything, and
you're like, just pick something and go.
That's right.
Yeah. The ones that make you like they ask you like a lot of questions, and at the end they don't take anything.
That's the worst.
Dude, that brings up so many memories. I remember like, oh my gosh, I remember even like hey, I'll meet you at Blockbuster or wherever. And be like, I've been there for like 10 minutes. I've looked at all these movies. I don't even know what I want. And then like you spend another like 20 minutes looking through movies.
It's
It's
true.
like used to be a thing. You'd meet a bunch of
Yeah.
people and you'd already been looking
Yeah.
for a half hour and someone else comes. Oh my gosh. It's crazy.
Well,
Yes.
It was like an
No,
evening
it was
event.
good.
Exactly. Yeah. Half of it was looking for movies.
Yeah, that was the event. Half
Yeah.
of it was that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember meeting like with Steve, who Mike knows, and Ken and John High and those guys on a Friday night, and they used to hate having me go along to the movie store because I'd seen most of the stuff in there. So like, what about this one? And I was like, oh yeah, that was kind of so. And then what about this one? Oh, that was a pretty good one. It's like, Mark, you've already seen this one? Oh, what about this one? It's like, Mark, you just stand outside and we're just gonna randomly pick one.
We're just gonna pick 6 movies,
Yeah.
and you're in whether you've seen it or not.
Yeah. I remember we saw like Toxic Avenger together, and those kind of films. Those were good times.
Oh my goodness.
I spent hours in the music store, but I always left with something. Okay, well, at least you were like just trying to figure out what you wanted. Yeah, I know those customers. Yeah, they spend all kinds of time and then they walk out with nothing.
Oh no, and that's okay. I am just saying, like there were like people that were weird, like, or they ask you things like, "Can you make me a copy of this record here?" And no, we don't do that here. Why not?
Don't illegally download these albums.
Yeah, like there were like people really weird. Like, why not? Or, hey, I have a band. Can you sell the?
Yeah.
the
Can you sell my
That's
cassette?
the worst.
And I'm like, okay, I am not in charge of that, but if you talk to the manager, oh, why not? But it's really good. I'm like, yeah, but I am here selling. I am not. This is not my store. I mean, there were like a lot of like funny things. Really good anecdotes. Yeah, good stories.
To get your CD sold in stores, it takes a little more effort than to just say, "Sell my CD in the store."
Yes. No, but there were like a lot of people doing that all the time, like guys who tried to be. I mean, there was I was in Mexico at that time, so there were like also guys trying to be like rappers, and oh, I have my tape here. Can you sell it here? No, the manager. or people like, hey, I have this old movie. Can you transfer it? And make copies of it. Like, no. That like I got that a lot there, but I don't know why.
I don't plan to go to jail for making copies of movies illegally. So have a nice day.
Basically, yeah.
I would say Google it, but if it was VHS and like vinyls, that they weren't Googling anything back then.
And at that time, I think like not everybody had access to internet that easily. Like,
no,
I remember like the cafe internet were a thing probably at that time, but it wasn't like that common. Like everybody had internet in home. Yeah, so that was another thing. I mean, it was a long time ago.
Sony, that question's for you.
Yes. Like if we let them leave flyers there, they do that, and we were actually very supportive of people who were making events in there. We also let them glue some posters on the store.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've got some. I had some other things because of that mom and pop store that I worked at. They had all genres.
Yeah, we also sell there.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah.
We had an adult section. Yeah, so it had the weird like old West doors.
Yeah, we did too.
And boy, some of the things that people would ask me about what's in there, or I remember this one lady, she wanted to like. She wanted she wanted to swap an adult film and put it into a regular film's case. So like when her husband took it out and stuck it in the VCR, he'd be like, "Oh, that kind of thing." And
God.
Which is fine. That's kind of funny, or whatever. But she was asking me, "So what's a good one?"
Oh God.
And that gets a little awkward.
Like, I'm not willing to discuss that with you.
Yeah, so, how many holes are we talking about here? And then of course I'd have teenagers standing outside of the doors like, trying to do this.
Trying to sneak in, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I'm
The
like,
17-year-olds that are like,
yeah.
I saw it. I saw like this much of it.
Well, and they look at me because I'm young too. I'm basically not much older than them, and it's like, come on, dude, just let us have a peek in there. I'm like, no,
I'm not gonna get fired.
Yeah, you can't go in there.
Yeah, you can get in trouble. Yeah.
Go get it from your older friends, like everyone else.
Sneak in with your older friends, like the rest of us did. Come on,
Mm-hmm.
Make some effort.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, like, we used to have also movies in that store, and we have that kind of things too, like with the adult section. There were, for example, like the two people who were in the cashiers registers were women, and there was this guy that always was so ashamed to go and pay for the movies, and he was always go and look at the guy that was there playing the music and like, can you please like take the money instead of her? Like, I don't want her to see you. Like, it was so funny. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I remember this story. There was a guy who was a really nice customer, and he came in and he got an adult film, and he brought it back like the next day saying there's something wrong with the picture towards the end of it. And so I was like, well, I can't check it out now. Maybe I'll check it out after hours once we're closed.
Yeah.
And I put it into our system, and sure enough, it turned to snow like the last third of the picture or whatever. So he came back in maybe like a week later, and I remembered who he was and that there was a problem, so I owed him a refund and that kind of thing. But he came in with a woman, and me being stupid, I'm like 18 or 19 years old or whatever. He went and they got some regular kind of movie to rent that night, a mainstream movie. And I said, oh, by the way, that, Like a Virgin or whatever he rented.
Yeah.
I watched
By
it.
the way.
Yeah, you're right. There's something wrong with that picture, so I owe you a refund. That kind of
So he's like,
yeah. And so his face got immediately red. The woman's laughing at him, and then probably like a day later, because he returned that movie, he's like, hey man, thanks a lot. And I'm like, oh man, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize you were on a date or something. He said, no, that was my sister.
oh no.
So awkward.
Oh yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to embarrass you.
Just like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, well, like industrial girls saying, no shame in that. Do I have friends in the industry? I've interviewed folks in the adult industry, so maybe some people don't know that, but I have. So I don't view it that way. But it's just that there's always some level of comedy sometimes that comes from that.
Yeah. I have a
always.
couple of friends in the industry too, so yeah, I don't see it like anything bad. It's just so funny how there is a stigma still nowadays on that.
Yeah.
But there was a lot more in Mexico. I mean, I am talking like over 20 years ago. And there still is, like in Mexico, people is more close-minded than here. So yeah, it's still a bit of a shame, and yet alone not to like have a woman like selling that kind of things it's really still a stigma in there. And it was way more like 20-30 years ago.
Yeah, that's true. It was worse years ago, but it's still very much where people feel ashamed to go into stores like that or anything like that. They still feel that like, oh my God, I'm just gonna put my hood up and walk in. Like it's weird. Like we're in 2020. You think it would be way less casual because music videos and stuff like that are put on TV, commercials. Like the other day I was watching TV and this TV show was like, fuck this. And it was like 12 in the afternoon. Like, I'm like, aren't there kids home from school at this channel? Like a kid should just easily flip to the channel and just, that's it. Like now they've learned fuck, right? Like now they've learned the term. Like it just seems kind of weird. But
it's also that
the
like,
world's so different.
Yeah, you can see even in the movies, for example, like I like to watch like really old movies, and one of the things that I do like, and it's not because I am a moralist or anything like that, but still I think the stylish way that they were talking, the dialogues were so beautiful and so elegant, and all that has been lost. Like I haven't seen a movie like they don't avoid any bad words at all. And again, it's not because I have anything against it. It's just how times change in that too. How the movies go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I like movies that they don't swear every second word. Like, you know, I'm like, you want to be like, there's other words in the English language.
Exactly. Like, for example, one of the movies that I really love is The Omen, the one from the 70s with Gregory Peck. That movie is so beautiful because even the way that they insult the other people is not vulgar at all, and there is not any cursing in the whole movie. So it's so well done, so beautiful, and even for the thematic of the movie is so well done, so beautiful. And you don't see anything like that. Like now, it's like you say, like every, I don't know, 10 seconds there is a curse word there.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think they are even trying to see which one says more bad words than the other.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I agree 100%. I feel like sometimes it's like someone's competing with some other director and they're like, okay, how many times can we swear? And it just doesn't in a natural way, but still as many times as we can. Like some is like completely unnatural that you're like, why would you even say it that way? You would just say, damn it. You wouldn't just say, oh, fucking damn it. Like you wouldn't say all of that. You would just say, damn it. Like a normal person.
Yeah.
You don't throw every curse word before the word damn it. Then you go,
Yeah.
But I'm not a director, so you know.
I'm just seeing what Industrial Girl had said here when we were talking about the adult stuff.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
good.
So for some folks it's like that, and like yesterday, I like the quiet horror movies, not the. Oh yeah, that's true. We were talking about the Industrial Girl about the type of horror films that she likes, and the producer that I had produced a film that's very much a slow burn. It was not yelling, screaming, you know, fuck kind of thing. It was nothing like that. It's one of those films that gets under your skin instead and creeps you out for like days afterward.
Yeah,
that's the kind I
those
like.
Those are awesome.
Yeah. Like true suspense thrillers are what make a horror movie, in my opinion. Not just jumps all the time. A jump here and there is fine, in my opinion, but you know, when there's actually a story and it really gets under your skin and it really makes you think, that to me is what a horror movie should be. Because then you walk around the house for like a week and you're like, oh, was that something? Oh my God, was that something?
Yeah.
That's how I know it works. You're like, oh, it's working.
I'm so desensitized to horror, you know, being so old now that when something scares me, I know it must be pretty good.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And when I got chills down my spine a couple times watching that film, I was like, oh, geez, this is a good one.
Yeah. I haven't had that either. Yeah.
Yeah, I find it easier to laugh at horror movies now these days. It's like, okay, it's got to be something really good that I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think, the more you've seen and the longer you've lived, it becomes hard to find something good in some of these genres.
Right. Yeah.
And I get excited anytime someone sends me a press release. Well, hey, we have a screener for this film. I find out what genre it's in, especially if it's a horror or thriller or something. Okay, that's my area. And then some of them have been good. And then, but a lot of them are like, God, this is such a waste, and I got to sit here for another, 40 minutes and still I can't turn
just
it
fast
off.
forward. Yeah. Just fast forward to the end just to see what happens. Did they die? Did they survive?
I wish I could.
No, unfortunately you can't when you're reviewing it, but yeah.
And I think also like today, like in these modern times, it's really easy to make movies now. Like there are a lot of people making movies every day.
Yeah.
So it's something like it's really hard to impress the audience right now too. Even with TV shows are too. Like I still go and watch Twilight Zone because I think that TV show is brilliant, and I watch the new ones and I am like,
no, it's all about the classic Twilight. Yeah,
I will go and watch Twilight Zone again.
You're like, not gonna lie, it's actually playing on the screen right beside me. I'm watching it on silent. Yeah.
Awesome. I was watching it yesterday, by the way, too. Right. I love it. Yeah.
The new Twilight Zone.
Right.
Yeah, it's beautiful TV show.
To randomly point out Industrial Girl 25's comment, Del Toro has made some amazing movies too. Yeah. I just thought I'd point that out too. But I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, Masters of Horror. It was good too. I like it. I like a few of the episodes. That series too was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because wasn't Masters of Horror the one that had all the great directors all did an episode? So like Gordon didn't Stuart Gordon do one,
Yeah,
and
Gordon.
maybe was Wes Craven still alive at that time when did he do one?
I don't remember if Wes Craven did one. I remember Mick Garris did one. Dario Argento made one too. John Carpenter. Who else? Yeah, probably he did.
It's like a laundry list of all these great horror directors all took a stab at their own episode, and it's like, oh, that's cool. And Shudder. See, I'm such a freaking dinosaur, so I can fully admit this. I know most people talk about, especially during the pandemic, they spend some time on Netflix or they're on Hulu or they're on whatever. I have access to those, but they're not my accounts, so I don't really watch any of that stuff. So I don't know what's going on. I only hear about it.
Okay. I don't even have them. I'm like 31, and you think I would have them? Have all these programs? I don't.
Yes.
Yeah,
I always used to think of getting them, but I'd be like, well, I'm at shows all the time, and I'm like, well, with a pandemic, do I really have that excuse anymore? Because there is no shows. So, but no, it's true. I always thought of jumping in on the Shudder one because all the different horror movies and all the newer styles and different takes from different countries bringing in horror movies. A lot of the countries outside of the US can really do horror movies, and it'd be interesting to see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I actually like, one of my favorites are, of course, besides the Mexicans, I love the Italian movies. It's like probably one of my favorite countries for horror and thriller crime movies, and Spanish. Yeah, but they are not that famous. I think they have been a little bit more popular nowadays because thankfully, like, there are a lot of companies that have been releasing them. But yeah, like, I don't know, 20 years ago they weren't like that well known. And even Asia, like Indonesia, Korea, and Japan, they have really good horror movies.
Yeah. Especially seeing the original Japanese ones, like the American remakes. They're not really the same. It's better to go and watch the actual Japanese ones because they really kind of get under your skin, because it's like they just know what they're doing. Yeah, they just knew what they were doing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I am not against the remakes at all, but I haven't seen any good ones lately. Like, the last one that I liked was probably the one that Tom Savini did from Night of the Living Dead in the 90s. That was a good remake. And before that, probably the one that David Cronenberg did from The Fly, and the John Carpenter, The Thing. That's really good, in my opinion, of course. And it's The Night of the Body Snatchers. I forgot the title.
Oh, yeah. I can't think of it, but I do know which one you mean. Yeah.
Well, the remake is really good too. It's The Night of the Body Snatchers, I think it is. Yeah. It's really good. Really good.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I mean, Sony, you've seen, I don't know how many horror movies, probably, because, I mean, you're well versed in that. Not that the rest of us aren't, but you, I mean, that's kind of your niche, I know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's funny because from, like, with the pass of the time, like, I remember, for example, when I was a teenager, I used to love, like, slashers. I mean, I still do, but that was one thing that I was watching almost daily, or like on a daily basis, like gory movies, violent movies. And now I watch them, but I don't feel like the same.
Yeah.
Like, like when you are a teenager, like that really was, I don't know, like, it fascinates me.
Yeah.
And now I still do it. I was like, oh my God, I remember when I watched it the first time, it really impressed me. And now I am like, okay, it's fun.
Right.
And now I am more like into the thriller or the crime one or mystery ones. But yeah, I still love them, of course. The nostalgia of the slasher and that.
Yeah. Yeah. I like all the Conjuring ones myself. I just like how those kind of play out. They're not stuck on making you jump, but when they do it pretty well. Anyway, at least in my opinion, same thing. The whole Conjuring universe does it well, and they were supposed to come out with another one this year, and of course with COVID that got postponed. But it was just it's a really cool little series that they based on Lorraine and Ed Warren, and I like when they do stuff like that. They subtly base it on someone who's gone through like extraterrestrial or like ghosts or demons, like that kind of stuff. I always like those myself, but
that's good.
That's always my area. Slasher, I was the same way, Sony, when was when I used to like all the super like violent like thrashers and like
me too.
zombies ripping arms off and like it was just like woohoo. But now that I feel like I watch Walking Dead from time to time, but I'm really starting to be like it's dragging on for way too long. But same thing. I always loved my zombies, but yes and no. Now I'm a little more towards kind of like a more psychological thriller where you kind of have to think about it more so than just jumping or blood everywhere.
And I still watch them like time to time, but not like before, like when I was a teenager. Like I was watching like I don't know 3 or 5 movies of those like daily, and like so obsessed with it. Now it's like, okay, I will watch the classics, the ones that I really like, like, like the George Romero ones or the Dario Argento ones that I like the slashers, or Texas Chainsaw in the anniversary or something like that. But not like every day I will have it. Or if I was doing something else, and like you do, like I have that. I like to do that too. Like I'm doing something else, but I have something in the background on mute or a silent movie, and I used to have also, like Chainsaw Massacre,
right? Those were classics. Yeah.
Sony, I remember when you were on the fun table that you were talking about. I think when your son was super young, was reacting to it. But I'm curious about yourself. What was the first horror movie you remember seeing yourself?
Oh, I think it was actually Friday the 13th, the part 1. No, it was Nightmare on Elm Street. I watched them almost at the same, probably. Like I watched one and then next week or so watched the other one. But it was first Nightmare on Elm Street, and then the first Friday the 13th, and the second Friday the 13th. I watched those together, because my uncle used to babysit me and my brother when my parents were around, and he was a teenager at the time. And I was probably 6 years old, and he was like, "Don't tell your parents that we are gonna." And I remember that I had nightmares with Freddy Krueger, but I didn't say anything to my parents because I was so scared. And I was like, but it was so funny because I wanted to watch more. And then it was Friday 13, and then it was Chucky, and I loved Chucky. It was like one of my favorites. And then, now I watch it and I just laugh. But I remember that, what I think it's also like easier to impress a kid.
Easily,
but there are so many movies that really impressed me when I was a kid and like an early teenage. Like I really remember Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Terminator 2 I was like, like I watched Terminator. I love it. I love it. I still love it. It's a huge fan.
I love Terminator.
That one.
The first 2 Terminators, they were classics too. Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow, what is this? Look at that. Sleep with it.
Yeah. For its time, it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's where like the first movies that I ever watched, and the horror movies I ever watched. And then I used to start doing it by myself. Like in Mexico, we used to have video clubs like in the neighborhoods run by your neighbors, like really small ones. And I remember that I used to go and sneak in, and hey, I will have this one. And like my parents weren't like really present at home, so like I could do that without supervision, and I started watching a lot of movies when I was like, I don't know, 8, 10-year-old, and it was, I had already like a lot of movies under my sleeve that I shouldn't.
Nice.
Well, and Sony, maybe you can kind of speak to this too, because I'm not even really completely clear. You're connected to Mad Monster, correct?
Oh yeah.
So what do you kind of do for them or with them?
Oh, lately I have been just performing for them, but I start working with them like they were asking for volunteers to help in when they made a Seattle show, and I just signed up, and they called me, and we just became instant friends. It's like we are like a small family, and I have been there. I have been with them ever since. It was so weird because, well, not weird, but I wasn't expecting anything of this, but we just became instant friends. Like, I'm talking about the people who put the convention together, and it's like a small family, and we see each other like 3 times a year. Well, except this year, but normally, yeah, we see each other like 3 or 4 times a year, and we have like really cool moments. And every time I can go to visit, because most of them are based in LA, so I miss them. But lately I haven't used performing for them, but I did a lot of stuff like before starting performing for them. Like, I was just helping them managing the volunteers, because I then like escalate positions there. Like, I become part of the staff. And so I was helping them with the volunteers and assist the celebrities and so on, things like that.
All right.
That's what I do.
No, that's cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
I was just it kind of brings us to like a broader question about for folks that have been at conventions. It doesn't have to be a horror convention, it could be anything, or just in general. I've asked this before, but I'm just curious about how many people here in this fun table have met somebody that you liked, thought was famous, whatever, and had a good experience with that person. Doesn't become musician, athlete, anybody. I'm just kind of curious.
A good experience.
Yeah, something that was really memorable.
I have so many good experiences. I don't really know where to start.
Yeah, me too. I have so many too. Like, it's like a long chat, and I don't want to take over because it will take a while.
Okay. Well, that's good though that you've had a lot of good experiences.
Even like musicians and actors, like, really, and not only actors, like directors or people who have been involved in the making of movies too. And so it's nice. It's good.
Yeah. No, I know myself. It's I'm still friends with the person that I met when I first started doing photography. And Mark, you and I have talked about it before, but Nurgle of Behemoth, the singer and guitar player and founder of the band, he is the reason I do photography for concerts and stuff. So I owe a lot to him, and we're still very good friends. We stay in touch, and usually at least maybe a few times a week we'll at least message back and forth, just because I know he's busy with his stuff at home and I'm busy with my stuff here. So, but we still stay in touch, and it's great. It's a positive experience, still going. Like, what are we at? Over 10 years now. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So went from being a fan of a band to friends, which is really cool, and starting me up in what I do now for my photography website, the whole shebang. So it was a really cool and positive experience that I still hold dear and close to my heart all the time.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
Cool.
Another thing that I like about the conventions or the metal shows in general, it's like not only if you have the opportunity to meet the musicians or the actors, it's also like, in my case, I have met other people that are not like super famous or anything like that, but they are really cool, like good artists. Some people that I think, oh my god, this person is so talented that I don't know why he's not more famous. It's things like that too. True. I have met like a lot of really, really talented people, and I'm like, wow, this person deserves, more recognition, but for some reason they don't have it. So
that's especially if you go the convention route. There's a lot of really talented people that you start befriending just by being there, or even for me being, and Char knows this too, being at shows that you start seeing fans, and I'm seeing what Industrial Girl's talking about with some of the folks that she's met, and Natasha, after 16 years, we still talk. And Mike, anybody come to mind? I was kind of curious.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I think there's so many good experiences that it's the bad ones that I can think of, like off the top of my head. But there's one guy that I worked with so within the skydiving business, I had a guy that called me over and over, like wanted advice on camera gear for his helmet. And I spent hours and hours with him on the phone, and I don't know who he was. It was just another guy just called me, and I want to say it was a good 6-7 months, and said, hey, I'm going to send you something. I'd finally helped him and his wife out with some gear and stuff like that. And he sent me something. And he's like, I don't know if you know who I am. And I'm like, no, I'm just, just helping you out. And he's like, my name's Jason David Frank. And I used to be on the Power Rangers. And so he's like the green Power Ranger. And he goes all.
Oh my God, the green one.
Yeah.
The green one.
all the conventions and stuff like that. And, he showed me all this stuff. I'm like, man, but yeah, he's been great. I mean, and now he sends me stuff every once in a while, like all these old pictures of him and stuff that he signed, and I still like help him out. But yeah, that was kind of like very humble. The people that have been most gracious, a lot of times I don't even know who they are until later on. They're like, I find out later, which is awesome that they're not like up front, this is who I am. I want this, right?
Oh my God, yeah. Something like that happened to me with this guy from Skinny Puppy Ogre. Like I wasn't a fan at all of his music, or I wasn't really into it. Like I knew a couple of songs, things like that. But I met him in a convention, and I was like, oh my God, the guy is so down to earth, super nice. He gave me an LP, like I didn't ask for it. He just, it was like, hey, come here, and he gave it to me, and I was like, wow. But I saw also how he was treating all the people there, and he's a super cool guy. And I became instant his fan. Yeah. Like every time they come and play town, I go and I buy his merchandise and something like that, because I have this memory of him being super, super nice. I'm like, oh, it's really cool to support people that are like that.
Yeah. Very true. Very true.
Positive reinforcement. Yeah, you
yes.
want to support those kind of folks, because there's too many of the other kind out there.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, it's like Mike said, there's so many good experiences that the bad ones are the ones that I jump to first.
I know.
And it's really
I know when you first asked that
like,
question, you're like, oh, I got a couple, but I'm like, nah, never mind.
Yeah.
Well, on the flip side,
yeah.
Oh man,
there's definitely been a handful that I'm just like,
yeah, me too. Yeah, I had one that it was really bad, and I was like, wow, disappointed. Because I actually stopped listening to the band, it was weird because it's like a very popular one, and I am not gonna say who, but he was really like, I was like, oh my God, it's ridiculous. Like, okay, dude, you're super famous, but chill out.
Yeah. And some have, like, some people, whether they're actors or musicians, have such egos right off the bat, and you're just like, where does it come from? You're not nice, you're not humble, you're not, and in some actors' cases they're not very good, or they're not, or some musicians' cases they're really not that amazing, that you're like, where does it come from? There's ones that are a lot more humble and a lot nicer with a lot more talent in their pinky than you, but so you wonder where it comes from, but
exactly. And also it's like, you are, well, in my case that happened in one of the conventions that I was, and I was like, dude, you are here in a convention because probably you are not, I don't know, that's what I want to think, doing that good. So you, after having all those years of being like a great person, you are here because you are meeting people all the whole week. And I know that it's draining and tiring, but you are there for a reason, and at least you can be nice. But it's like, I don't know, I don't get it, but
I can add on to that part, especially when it's conventions, because
exactly.
This is a revenue stream for them. This is a way for them to still stay relevant, still have money to pay their bills. And if you can at least be somewhat normal to your fans that are paying money for an autograph or a picture or whatever,
very true.
You shouldn't be there. I mean, just don't do it.
It's like, what are you doing here if you don't like people?
That would be like if you went to a store and they treated you really poorly, you wouldn't go back.
Exactly. No, definitely not.
I've said this before. I've been really, really fortunate for the most part in terms of people I've met, and I've met some really good people. There's been some that have been kind of but I haven't met the one that's been like awful. That would be a fan of them ever again. No, knock on wood.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I think that's probably the. Oh, sorry, I was probably that was probably the only one that I really I was like, wow, this is extremely rude. Like I will never ever buy anything that has this guy on it ever again.
Anything to do with you, done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shadowed a Seattle PI sports reporter one time at the Kingdom, and he took me. It was when I was going to college, and I was thinking about pursuing sports journalism and stuff like that. And he took me, into the locker room, and he wanted to introduce me to one of the pitchers, and on the Mariners, and it was bad. The guy was just angry, didn't want to be there. Just it soured. It actually soured me to like, do I want to like do something where I'm having to like interview these people and just like seem to hate their lives. So it was a bad experience and actually soured me a little bit on sports journalism after that. So
and it also, I think it also makes you feel a little uncomfortable about like, all right.
Yeah. That's very true.
And it's funny because the guy that actually was the reporter was like, he was trying to find like, because the guy played drums actually as well, and like trying to find something to like connect us, and the guy was just not having it. I was like, okay, let's just get out of here.
Can I guess? Was this the big unit?
It was a big unit.
when you said he played drums, because he had a reputation of being a dick.
Yeah.
Pretty bad when that's your rapport.
A Hall of Fame type of pitcher, but on a personal level was just a jerk.
Yeah.
That's
that
too
was
bad.
it. Yeah.
Right?
Dang. And like I'm
one of those
go ahead.
Once in a lifetime opportunities turned to like whatever.
Just like
get me out of here.
Whatever, man.
Yeah, and I've mentioned this during some of my interviews that I did on the Alice tour, that there was an athlete that I met who just couldn't be bothered. He's like, he didn't want to be there. And this was a thing for charity. So I'm like, I go back to
it's even worse.
Why are you even here? If you don't want to do this, just tell the organizer, hey, I'm not into this. I don't want to do it today. If you wake up that morning, you're on the wrong side of the bed. I'm not going to go to this mall and go do this signing or whatever. But instead, he went there and he could not be bothered. You could tell he didn't want to be there. He's talking to his teammate the whole time, wouldn't acknowledge anybody. It's like, man, you're making such a horrible impression, not only for yourself, but for the team.
Yeah.
So here I am, a lifelong, Seattleite and fan of, what you do. And you're a fucking...
I know, it's disappointing.
You are a prick.
Yeah.
Like,
thank you.
Yeah.
And I've seen additional girls talking about Bruce Campbell was so disappointing for her to meet, which is awful because he's known for the Evil Dead series and everything else. And I've kind of heard the same thing about him. It's like it's all this, and he can't even be like nice to people when they meet him. It's like, golly, you wouldn't even have a career without your fans.
That's true. Very true. It's not like he's all over movies everywhere. It's not. Right. It's not like someone like Johnny Depp where it's like he's in every Tim Burton movie. Like it's just like like it's, or in like a lot of Disney movies too. Like he's just in so many. Like he doesn't even have to try. Whereas Bruce Campbell, he's really only known as like Ash. Like he's really only legendarily known for that role. So when he goes to conventions and stuff, I'm sure that's 90% of his fan base is people that are like Evil Dead, like
right.
That's it. Yeah. Come with chainsaw arms and they're like, woohoo! Like at least give them the time of day. Like these are the people that made you famous. Give them 5 minutes of your time. It really doesn't take much.
Right.
And one of the things one of the things that I have seen about horror fans, it's like we are very passionate and we get like we know the actor that only make one movie, even if it's not that good, we know it. And
we know you were
that. We cannot see that like with other genres, like unless you are like a super fan. But it's not that common. Like we have horror conventions. There is sometimes like actors that they only made a movie when they were kids, and they are still doing the conventions there, and most of them are really, really nice, or at least the ones that I have met, they are super cool. And so, but I think it's because of that you mentioned, like the they made only 1 or 2 movies, and the horror fans are, this guy from this movie.
Yeah, exactly. And it's always funny because it's usually someone that wear a mask or something, so you would never visually know who they were to see them on the street. So they can live a true life of like being incognito in public. Like you feel bad for like I said, Johnny Depp, for someone who's so famous, he can't just walk down the street. Like he has to have like security with him at all times. Whereas it's like you say, horror fans, we'd really probably only know him because we hard time like Googled this person and we're like, we are gonna find out what you look like. Like that's the only reason you'd actually know is if you actually took the time to look up who they were. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't know. Because like if it was like Freddy or Jason, like they've got masks on, you'd never know. Yeah. They could be anybody.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And obviously I've been to the conventions for a while covering them, and you know, most, like Sony said, most of them are really, really gracious and really nice and want to talk. They want to talk to you about what they did, 30 years ago. And I understand, people could have had a bad experience. I try to give the benefit of the doubt when I can, but when it becomes like a pattern of behavior, like not just with me, but with somebody else and some other city, like, okay, I think there's something going on with just how you are and how you interact. And so if you take that, it happened this year. If you take this away from you, the whole circuit of conventions and your revenue stream, where are you now? So maybe that kind of helps you get a perspective, hopefully.
Right.
That you can realize, maybe I should kind of be a little bit more appreciative of the fact that they'll pay me thousands of dollars to come fly to Seattle and meet some fans who would just want to say hi and get a picture with you or get an autograph because they remember you from 1982 and whatever film you did.
True.
And don't be a jerk about it. Or if you are kind of like not feeling it, be a little bit more transparent. Say, hey, I woke up not feeling really well, but I'm so glad that you're here. So let's kind of make this quick or whatever. People are forgiving that way. But if you don't say anything, then they just assume, hey, you're a dick.
Right. You get labeled dick all over the internet.
With social media, it's instant. People will instantly know. They'll tweet it out. So-and-so is a dick.
It's not like back in 1982 where it took a while to spread.
That's right.
It wasn't like 5 minutes later, you're a dick.
You can't get away with that anymore.
People using their rotary phones trying to call.
Mailing postcards.
Gonna mail my pen pal.
That's right.
He was a dick.
I think about that sometimes as I've been doing these virtual interviews this year about like, what did people do back in the 80s that were trying to conduct interviews? They didn't have the internet. They didn't have access to the information that I have access to do my homework on, folks. So what were they relying on? Just press releases and, what people gave to them, I guess?
God.
It
would have been mail-outs, I imagine. Yeah.
And some of the journalists were really after the people. Like the journalists were literally like running after their stories, and it was that way. Or the interviews were probably like by phone or or by mail. It was way harder. It was way harder.
Oh yeah.
To get them.
That is not lost on me at all. Because again, even like today, I was doing some research for my interview at noon. And I'm kind of like, gosh, I have this so easy. I could just go to my computer and find so many either other interviews they've done or press releases or just little blurbs about them, and I'm kind of good to go. But if you flip back, 30 years ago, it's like, you're really hoping for the best and also using your skills once you're actually with that person on the phone or in person with them. That if you don't have that skill set, you're in a world of hurt.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, it's funny because my mom mentioned the other day that she was saying that she's like, with the whole COVID thing and being limited to like staying at home. And if you weren't, she read an article somewhere that was saying like back in like, I don't know if it was like SARS or way back. And like, if you weren't wearing protective gear to make sure people didn't get sick, you like got arrested for it. And now it's like during this pandemic where people are dying and everything, it's like, really? No one's really willing to do that anymore. It's just like, and everyone's just kind of like, even law enforcement's like, well, it's required. Like in our province, it's the same thing. They're not really mandating it at this point. And I'm like, our cases are soaring right now. They're starting to really make their way up. So it's like I said to my mom, I'm like, We should just start arresting people. Just bring that back. Bring it back.
Yeah.
Make it mandatory and bring it back. Probably overwhelm the justice system, but whatever.
Yeah, I vote for that. It's like, I think,
Vote in.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting though, because like she said the same thing. She's like, people didn't complain back then that they had nothing to do, and yet there was like way back in the 50s or 40s, and it was like you didn't have internet, you didn't have cell phones, you didn't have all these digital things to keep you occupied at home. So I'm like, and yet they didn't complain as much. Whereas we now, a lot of like our generation, like even younger than me, like kids in their 20s and stuff are like, well, I'm not staying home. It won't make me sick. I won't die. Well, you never know. Right? So it's funny that you brought up the back then, right? So it's like, oh, same thing with COVID right now. Yeah. We're fortunate that we have all these digital platforms to either virtual talk to each other or play video games, watch TV. They didn't have that back then.
Yeah, or you can connect with your friends that don't live nearby or that are in another country. That's wonderful.
Right?
I mean,
Yeah.
It's the good. Yeah, it's the good side of the technology.
It's really good.
That came up in my interview today. They were saying, like, imagine if we didn't have the internet right now.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, you can't work from home. We can't do these kind of things. We can't do whatever. And then, but to Char's point, it's like, what did people do 50 years ago? When something serious happens, like, well, I guess you're playing your guitar and you're going outside and you're, doing other things. They're shutting off the power to people's houses who throw parties down in California. Huh? Oh,
interesting.
That's one way to do it.
That's a good thing.
We should do that here because people in BC haven't caught on to that either. We were really good in the beginning, and then all of a sudden it was just like our cases have spiked and people are like, well, no, I have to have my like 300 people wedding and I have to go to the funeral with them. Like, I understand funerals, it is more of a sympathetic moment, but still you're like, there is still ways to do a service safely without bringing 300 family members and putting them all at risk. Because, some of those people that have passed that are in the funeral home, like because of a funeral, they passed because of COVID. So you're like, do you really want to start spreading it to the rest of the family? Or just, kind of got to think about it, as sad as it is. But stuff like weddings and parties, it's just like, use your head. Think of the world around you. If you keep doing this, concerts, regular life as we know it will take forever to come back. So just my little humble Canadian opinion. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I agree with you. I agree with you with that.
Oh, pets are making their way in.
Yeah, this is the cat who leaves the white fur everywhere.
Look at him.
Aw, so cute. I saw Kitty. Kitty. That was my reaction to Kitty.
Sony, remind me your cat's name.
This is Yurak.
Yurak.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Aw. So cute.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's that part of the fun table. The pets are coming out.
The pets are coming. Mine's locked out. He's not coming. I am impressed that he's here because he's very he gets cold very quick. Like, he likes to be warm all the time, and here is a little cold, so I'm impressed. He normally is just like upstairs in the bed.
Mike, how are you doing? Because I know it's midnight over there for you.
Yeah, I'm getting tired, but I'll keep on going as long as you guys are going.
That sounds like a challenge.
Challenge accepted.
I want to be mindful because we've been so loose with these. Sometimes if someone has to drop off, I completely understand, especially when you're in another time zone. So just kind of know, do what's comfortable and best for you.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
Okay. And Deshra, no, you're not chatting too much. And
you're doing good. I like when people ask questions and all that.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah,
I'm exactly the same. I love it when people are in the chat and being appropriate. when they're not in the chat, then I mean, it's just a little different. It's just a different kind of dynamic that happens. So no, I
Right.
love it. So
Yeah.
I don't want to be annoying. You can't
You
be
are
more.
not.
You can't be any more annoying than me. So you're fine.
No, I like it. I like when people
Yeah.
ask
When's that
questions
bald
or-
guy gonna shut up?
And
noticed-
stop camera. No, I was kidding.
Yeah, there I go.
Aw.
Oh,
And
I'm back.
Oh, you got the horns. I don't know if that's a
Yeah,
good
she
sign
did.
or not.
Cool. Yeah. No, it's interesting too. Like I used to do this thing with my students talking about technology. So we talk about like this is a while ago, but answering machines and microwaves and personal computers. And they just assume that all that stuff's been around like the whole time. I was like, no. There was a time when this didn't exist.
Yeah.
And they're like, how did you live? That kind of thing. And for the student, like Mike, you've got kids right now, so teenagers. I'm like, I can't imagine what it's like for them growing up with all of this around them. And it's so it's so immediate. Everything is just in their face.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't. It is. It's hard to comprehend. We talk about like, and I was talking about that. I remember when there wasn't a microwave. I mean, I definitely remember that was like, it was like a newfangled, and they'd call it, it just, I remember that was new. And of course, black and white TVs and the cable that was on the thing that you'd go across. And I don't know, it was so different, and MTV played music.
Yeah. And History Channel was actually History Channel.
Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah, but the phones too. I mean, that's just so crazy. I mean, because we just didn't have that. It was that's such a different experience. Being glued to this, to just the whole world. I don't know.
And even the evolution of the cell phones too. Like I remember I had my first cell phone when I was like 20 years old.
Yeah.
It was nothing like the ones that are.
Yeah, and then it was just a phone.
It was like a brick. It was like a big brick.
Yes.
I remember those too. My dad had that. It was just like a giant brick, and then like when I was 17, I got my first one. It was like those little flip phones that are like, woohoo! I'm like, mine's smaller than yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another thing. Like everybody was like, "Oh, my phone is better than yours."
Yeah, that was always. I don't think that's changed because now everyone's like, I have the iPhone this, and I have the Samsung S20.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mine's the S20A. Like, I don't know.
Mine has this. Mine has that. Okay, cool.
It's like you want to be like, does it still make a phone call, or is there like 6 million other features, but it no longer makes the phone call? Like,
Yeah.
The whole purpose
and
of
now
the
it's
phone.
like,
Yeah.
and I know people that they don't like to be called. They
Oh,
they
yeah, that's the other thing.
Oh, yeah.
WhatsApp, or Facebook WhatsApp or stuff like that.
No, that's-
Email.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's so funny because it used to be you loved to when you were young, you loved to talk on the phone, and you'd be like the phone, the cord be going through 3 rooms, and you'd be there like, leave me alone, I'm talking to someone. And now it's like no one wants to talk at the phone at all. They just want to text. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Hi, Dead Rabbit Carpool. Nice to have you joining us. I see you're here in the chat. So yeah, we're just talking about all kinds of random shit like we always do.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah, and Mike, you're absolutely right because nowadays we have these basically mini computers at our disposal, and we carry them everywhere we go. Called a smartphone.
Yeah.
And,
It's replacing everything.
Yeah.
It's true.
Home book, the phone book, the calendars. I don't know, you name it. Like the phone.
Yeah.
Well,
and
Our guest last week was Renee was talking about. Does anyone remember the Thomas guides for maps? And I said, "Oh yeah, I remember those things. They have big old books like this that you find your way around.
Yeah.
You kept them in your car or whatever to try to find where you're going to go before Google Maps and everything else came around. And I could tell. I think one of the other guests that was part of that was younger. Is kind of like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
That's another thing. Yeah, that's right. Like now it's like really easy to find places. And back in the day, you were like, "Oh, this is the street. Oh, they changed. The name is not the same, but it's right here."
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't-
like that.
Yes, the industrial guy. I still have a Thomas Guide in my car.
I still have it.
Yeah.
Hey, you never know. Your phone could die and you need the map still.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or yeah, like the industrial girl's talking about a payphone.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
you don't see those anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
That's
a rarity.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get the beeper, then go to the payphone, and then yeah.
The beeper.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like you want to put on if you find a payphone, you want to put like a historical marker and be like,
That's right.
historical thing.
That's right. Does it work? You throw it in chain. Does it work? Really?
Like,
OMG. Yeah.
What's this?
Yeah.
I remember when my parents got a cordless home phone and suddenly I could talk to someone without sitting in my bed.
Yeah.
That's right. Or sitting wherever the home phone was. Like
Yeah.
you could at least leave the room. Yeah.
It was a luxury have one of those phones. I remember when I had one of those, like, oh my God, it's so light, so cool. And, you know, I remember they were expensive too.
Yeah. Now they're super cheap because nobody knows what a house phone is anymore.
Yeah.
Me, because I still have one.
Yeah.
It's cordless though. It's at least cordless.
And then you're always hearing like, did my mom just get on? Did you hear a click?
Yeah. When someone else can pick up the line, you're like, get off the line.
That's true.
It's so true.
Oh, the infamous coiled cord of
Yeah.
the home
That was
phone.
annoying.
Yeah.
Trying to get that thing on.
Yeah.
Oh
We
my
have the
God.
coiled phones at work, at my work, and
Oh, you
it's
do?
so annoying. It's just like you can't go very far, and you're like, oh, I dropped my pencil way over there. I can't write what I'm supposed to be listening for down. And then you always have to be like, I'm sorry, I'll put you on hold. Pick up the pencil.
Everybody in their home had the yellow pages too, and I remember in Mexico they used
Yellow
to
Pages,
change
yeah.
it every year. Like the phone company was like, you know, like giving you your 3 phone.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah. The phone book used to be like a huge brick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like I think last year was the last time I got one, and it was only like paper thin. I'm like, what, did everyone stop having phone numbers? Like you still have to have phone numbers to phone these businesses. Where'd everybody go?
Yeah.
That's kind of true. I'm thinking right now that I have some old, yellow page phone books in my kitchen cupboard right there. I'm kind of like, why do I?
Oh, you still have one? Oh my God.
I still have some. Just for
It's
whatever.
paperweights.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's paperweights.
I need to recycle those. And let's see, internet first came up and you had to use the line to get on AOL. Oh yeah.
Oh my God, dial up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely sound.
That was the worst. So annoying.
Yeah, I remember when I was on a 28.8 and then eventually I got up to the 56. I was like, oh, wow, now I've got real speed. I can actually be with everybody else. It was like, oh my gosh. It's ancient things. Yeah,
Right.
Looks like Sony just went off and she's muted her mic, so I think she's probably grabbing a drink or using the facilities or something. Yeah, I hope. Yeah, she's still
attending to the cat.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Cat's like, brush me.
Oh my goodness.
You are my slave. Brush me.
Yeah, that's good. I was just trying to think, Mike, that back in the old Lake Washington high school days, that I remember being around you sometimes, but I don't remember what we were doing. Because we had mutual friends, so that's what I remember. But like, did we ever see a show together? Did we go to Burger Master together? What did we do? I don't.
Burger Master.
I do more like band room type stuff, or I'm trying to think like outside of school, probably just hanging out with Steve or doing something that. Yeah. I'm trying to think of a show that we would have gone to together or anything like that.
Because you weren't at Striper with us back in the 80s. Yeah, and then I do remember you and Steve went up to Canada and you stopped by my house for the Against the Law tour or something. So on your way up to Vancouver.
Yeah.
Then you guys stopped in, and that's why I think Steve was wearing makeup or something.
Oh yeah.
There's something going on with his face at that time.
Oh my goodness.
But definitely the band room, and sometimes Steve would bring like other friends that he knew like over to my parents' house where I obviously where I was.
Yeah.
But I know I was doing something with you at some point. Did we end up like at a Sherry's after a football game or something?
Could have been, yeah. I mean, oh my gosh. I remember getting notes from like the Sherry's waitress, like, I'm home late. I've got, I'm supposed to be home by a certain time. Get the Sherry's waitress to write me a note like, oh, the food took longer, whatever, to try and soothe it over with my parents, which never worked. But yeah, that could have been something like that.
That was always the place. You went to the game in the fall on Friday, and then you went to
Sony. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh god, yeah, crazy stuff. And the industrial girl said, "Hey, Sony, did your cat require your attention?" They thought that we lost you when you.
Oh no, I just went to the toilet real quick. So the cats, one of them, they do sometimes. They still, if they are cuddling up with me, he wants me to scratch him like right here. Or he start like, he likes to do this with his nose, and he likes to do that, and we do that. But like every day, the way he demands his dinner is hilarious. It's like he's there like, and if I don't give him like right away because I'm busy doing something else, sometimes he's like fainting, like he literally
like fakes his death, like I died. Yeah.
Or he tries to kill me. And actually, like 2 weeks ago or so, he likes to just go between my feet, like
he has you.
That. Yeah, and I tripped on him like 2 weeks ago, and then I was trying not to. I had things in my hands, and I just hit my arm, and I got like a huge bruise. And I was like, "You finally did it! You are trying to kill me." Yeah. So yeah, he that is the point of the night every night when he wants the food. I'm like, no, and he goes meows, and he's like meow. It's so funny. It's so funny. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, like in the cat book 101, that it's like you demand food, and if they don't give you food, you kill them. Like it's just like I'm pretty sure that is their like psychological.
It's like that. And I told him the other day. So if you kill me, who's gonna feed you? I
know. You think they would think about that, but they don't.
Yeah,
they don't think that far in advance.
They went his way. Yeah, they went their way. Yeah. So yeah, they are somehow demanding.
Well, you have 2 cats, so they can fight to the death, I guess, and whoever survives, then the other one leaves. But mine's alone, so he's gonna like have to like eat his leg or something if he kills me. Yeah. He'll have to resort to like cannibalism on himself.
Yeah, they would probably eat me first. And then they would
yeah, that's true. I guess they'll survive on your own body for a while. Then they'll resort to step 2.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Wow, that we definitely have some horror people. Who else would come up with stuff like that?
I'm a chick flicks person. What are you talking about? Not at all. No, God, no.
Already got a good start of the movie.
Yeah. I envy the school friends that
Cannibal
Mark
cats.
and Mike. I never stayed in a school long enough to have that. Oh, that's too bad. I mean, I was clearly not a popular person. Mike could attest to that when I was in high school.
Neither was I.
I just had my niche of friends that I always hung out with, and we always kind of did our same things. And they're either like band nerds or kind of arty nerds or whatever you want to call them. And that's when I had longer hair, or I had hair, period, and those kind of things. But yeah, you couldn't probably pay me to go back to high school in terms of what that was like. I mean, I learned a lot from it, but it was not the best of times for me. By far, I'm so grateful that I had the friends that I had. That's what helped get me through it, and obviously music. Music was a huge, play guitar, go see shows, go try to find that new album, go to whatever, buy that T-shirt, all that kind of stuff, got me through. So,
true.
All you need is that small group of friends. But I know that feeling. I definitely was never the popular kid. Yeah, we have a lot of things in common.
I wasn't the popular kid. No way.
We talk to our boys like that they find their ride or dies. They just need 1 or 2 friends that are their ride or dies, and that'll get them through high school.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
It's very true.
Very true.
And so, and it's such a hard, obviously, at that age, being a teenager, and that we were just talking about earlier, being a teenager now.
Oh God, no. No way. I would not survive a day in high school now.
No, me neither. No, me neither.
No. Virtual bullying is like online bullying and everything. Like the world is so different. It's so like internet access that it's just like to get bullied on online or in person, it's so much worse. Like I got bullied in school, and it was hard, and it was like before the internet was a thing. So it was pretty easy to stop getting bullied because I just went to my teachers and said, these kids are bullying me, and they actually did something about it. I'm pretty sure nowadays there's probably so many cases of that. Kids don't get help anymore. So it's sad to see that kids still get heavily bullied. Yeah. It's scary. You couldn't pay me enough to be a teenager again. That ship has sailed.
I got a lot of bullies it was in elementary school around 4th grade. And then I was in high school, but I didn't really care about it. I would be like, whatever. So it didn't affect me. And I knew like they were like mean or whatever, but I just didn't pay attention to them. And it didn't affect me. It's just like I didn't care. I didn't do anything. It's just like I just got in a fight, like in a physical fight with one of those girls once, and they leave me alone after. But other than that, like every time they were saying things, I was like, whatever.
I think part of it also is that you could escape it. Like you go home or you go out with your friends, and it was gone. I mean, so you'd have the crap at school or whatever, and I don't. At least for me, it wasn't like bullying, but it was definitely the cliques. Just like if you weren't the in crowd, you had your small group of, band friends or whatever. For me, and it was like, but you still, even though school might be like weird and awkward and people laughing and doing all kinds of weird crap, but when you went home, it was gone. You didn't have to worry about it till the next day. Whereas these kids now, they take it everywhere they go, every step. It can spiral so fast when it gets on the social media, and that's the sad thing.
It's so like, vicious. They are so vicious.
Very.
And they can't escape it.
And it's very true. And kids don't respect one another. They don't respect adults. And I shouldn't say that it's not all kids, but a large majority of them nowadays just don't have that same respect that like we would have grown up with, because you were just taught that way. Whereas like I know, like I see kids, like my mom used to work, she retired now, but she used to work with school kids, and she's just like, the high school kids, they could care less. Like my mom was a noon hour supervisor, so she would have, when she started, I was just coming into high school, and it was different. Like we all still said, like if the noon hour supervisor said, don't run in the hall, we didn't run in the hall. We stopped as soon as they told us that. Now it's like they run faster because they're like screw you, haha, and then run off. Like they don't have that same respect. Yeah, they don't have that same respect anymore, and it's a shame. And that's why they don't treat each other that way either. Yeah.
Well, like what Mike was saying, I totally relate to that. Having worked with K through 12 for 20 plus years on various different jobs, that it's interesting to see. So I remember like when MySpace was huge, and we were actually getting students referred to us because they were being cyberbullied through MySpace. And so that was a whole new thing for me to try to figure out that, so what's going on with this? Because at that time I didn't know what it was. So I had to make an account and go on to it and see how it worked. And it's like, holy shit. I mean, the stuff that would be said to, not me, but just other people, I'm kind of like, what is all this kind of stuff? And just, again, to Mike's point, that when stuff was weird at school, when you went home, at least you had an oasis away from it. But for kids nowadays, that's not there. I mean, unless they choose not to go to their phone or to their computer, but they still know in the back of their head, what are they saying about me? What kind of shit's going on? And that's going to be so damaging to young people. So again, Mike, as a parent, for you and your wife, kudos to you guys to do the best that you can to keep your sons on the right path when all that stuff's around them.
Yeah, it's just it is hard, I don't know, it's just so different. And you're also, because you grew up, like we're talking about, you grew up in a different age, and you're having to like, your experiences only get you so far because it's such a different time. So relating to them and trying to give them advice in a time what's like you barely can comprehend. It's definitely difficult. But yeah.
Yeah, and Sony's going to be dealing with it because she has a son who's younger. But when he gets to his teenage years, who knows what things are going to be like technology-wise at that point. You might just press a button on your head and you'll be able to do something. Who knows?
Unless we all turn into like the Terminator Skynet situation. Then it's just like, oh God, we're all going to die from like robots. 2021 people.
But I think like it scares me. Like sometimes I see kids at the age of my son, and they are so mean and like vicious. Like they make comments that I am like impressed that they make those kind of comments. So,
yeah, and again, for me, having worked with kids up until about 3 years ago, that you see this entitlement that I don't remember. Again, I might be sounding like an old fart, but I don't remember that kind of thing. I remember when I got in trouble in school that the school couldn't touch what my parents were going to do to me. So it's like, you want to give me seven Saturday schools? Fine, that's fine. Just don't call my home. Whatever you do, don't let my parents know. But now it's like they don't give a shit. It's like, well, I don't care.
No.
Go ahead. What's the worst you can do?
Yeah, don't let them know.
It's very true. They almost egg on adults to say, I want to see what you can do because I'm going to call my mom and dad and then they're going to sue you for whatever you did to me anyway. So, like, it's just such a different generation. Like, I'm not very old. I'm only 31, but I can see the difference from kids when I was in high school to kids in high school now. It's such a difference. And I don't even have kids of my own, so I don't have that stress of going, I have to send my kid to school. But yeah, like Mike and Sonny have kids, right? And it's just like, I couldn't imagine nowadays. The world is so different. Yeah. It scares me. And my nephew's only 2. So, yeah. My nephew's only 2, so he'll be down the road. And it's just like, I want to hug him and be like, please don't get bullied. Don't do anything. Don't do anything stupid.
Yeah.
It's going to be a while, but still.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that comment, and being me focused.
Yeah, that is very accurate. Yeah,
that's where things are.
Yep.
And
but they do that as a protection because you feel like with that social media stuff, you've got to be focused on you because it's that you don't want that image to get tarnished or not tarnished, but thrown away and thrown back in your face. So I can see how that it's just this vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah. They care about the way they look to others, and that's very true. Yeah, they care about how others perceive them, which I know the world always tries to teach you to accept you for you, and then your confidence will grow and all that. But it's very hard with the technology the way it is now, and how much in your face it really is. So it's
it is all the time. Yeah. Like I have a friend that she has. I think she's 18 or 17. And she behaves like I don't know, a 25-year-old kid. And that she's trying like to make her like, grow slow, but it's just scary too. And it's and she said that a lot of it is for the social media influence. And I don't know, it's like I think it's a thin line. Like you cannot overprotect your kids. And at the same time, I feel like you have to give them a little bit of freedom too. But as long as you do your work as a parent and supervise them and put limits on it. Yes. But it's like you cannot protect them from the world like all the time.
No, that's very true.
Yeah, it scares me. I mean, as a parent, it's scary. It scares me.
Yeah. Well, and also like what Mike was saying is that it's not just this young generation; it's adults too. In terms of social media, how do you live? How do you portray yourself? What do you put out there? What do you not put out? Some people put every wart out there to social media, and other people are going to put only the good stuff. This is how I want to be kind of seen. Yeah. And I'm even guilty of that sometimes. It's like, well, I know as a media outlet, I got to put stuff up to kind of stay relevant. But do I put stuff about me personally? Sometimes on Facebook, I'll put something out like something kind of quirky happened or whatever. But I don't put my business out there like that by choice.
Yeah.
But if people are watching this kind of stuff, I mean, good God, I mean, they've got all kinds of dirt on me or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Yeah, and everyone's different. You know, you social media is giving people a voice when they didn't have one, and sometimes they use it for whatever reason they want to, and you might resonate with it, and you might not.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a wonderful thing. I think like technology is wonderful. It's just the way that you let control your life when that you need to be careful.
Yeah. That's where you kind of have to be selective and really say to yourself, okay, I'm not going to let it control every aspect of my life. I may use it for pros, like Mark said, for social media, for like our outlets, like for myself, Metal Titans. I need it to stay relevant, but I'm not going to let it control every waking minute of every day, right? Because that's just, you can't. It's just, no.
I saw a child back there.
So did I.
Yeah, yeah, I know. We were all looking. I said,
I thought of that, and I was like, I'm glad I'm not hallucinating. So I'm like, what's in my water?
Yeah, it's like
I saw a creature lurking in the back.
Happy Friday the 13th.
Happy Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah.
they say happy Friday the 13th back. Oh, it's here. They can't hear you. Like they are
Look
hearing
at that. That's cute.
Very nice. Someone got dressed for the occasion.
Yeah.
I feel bad that I just wore like jeans and a sweater.
Okay. Yeah, no, he likes to wear costumes and play and things like that. And he has half hour left, and I let him sleep at 10 on the weekends. But
Nice.
Yeah,
I always remember that as a kid, going like, "Yes, I get to stay up longer."
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was so exciting.
Yeah, sometimes my parents would have exceptions, like if a really cool cut-up movie on ABC or something was going to be shown. You can stay up. There's an exception. You can stay up on Sunday night till to watch this cut-up version of whatever. But typically it's like same thing. Friday and Saturday. Oh yeah, I get to stay up till 10 or 11 or whatever.
Yeah. So those were always such highlights.
Mm-hmm.
Or like sometimes my family, well, I guess we're kind of going back to food again, but like we would do like backwards Fridays where like you ate dessert first and then had dinner second. We did like a weird
Nice.
Oh my God, that's great. I
still do that from time to time.
I love that. That's awesome.
Although I'm an adult now, I can officially make that choice myself.
Yeah.
It wasn't my parents making that choice, but it was cool that they did it once a week.
That's a fun thing.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember my parents doing anything like that.
You can pitch the idea. I know you're an adult now, but you can pitch the idea.
I like that.
My mom's probably still watching this, so hey, Mom, what happened?
That's right.
Like, come on! I missed backwards Fridays.
We could start it now during the pandemic. Why not?
Yeah.
Who cares if I'm 50? It's all right.
It'd be funny if your mom comments and she's just like, no.
No way.
With a finger, just like, no.
Well, what'll happen is this will come up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, it'll be like, I meant it this time. Yeah.
Yep, no mistake here.
Yeah.
I heard
No
what you
typo. Yeah.
said. Wait till I get a hold of you tomorrow virtually.
Yeah, exactly. Tomorrow on the computer at 9. You show up like at 9:10. I'm not showing up right away.
I'm just looking through some of the comments about the bullying stuff and kids and growing up respectful. My issues stem from bullying. And we could probably talk all night about certain things depending on what people's situations were. I was bullied when I was in elementary school, and it definitely shaped me a certain way. I was pretty. according to my parents, compared to my older brother, I was pretty outgoing and that kind of thing. And once that stuff happened, I became really introverted, to the point, like, I don't know if Mike knows this, but when I was in high school and in my Spanish class, my third year Spanish, I was one of the people in our little niche nicknamed me Mr. Quiet because I just didn't talk. Even like when I was in the band with Steve and John and Ken, every now and then I'd say something, and they're kind of like, especially like Ken would start laughing about it because I just didn't say anything. I was just kind of there. It's like, well, there's Mark.
Yeah. No, I feel like I was, definitely introverted because I didn't want to be made fun of. I'd see other kids do stuff, and I'm like, well, I'll just shut up. There's not much you can do about me. But of course, they'd find some way. But yeah.
Kids always found a way.
Yeah.
They always did. Although, like I say, same thing. You don't really find, like, at least I didn't find they found as many things back then. Because, like you say, you could go home and it was like, it never happened, which was great.
Yeah.
Because I know I had that at school when I was getting bullied in elementary, early high school. It was like, okay, it was nice that when you went home, it was all over. Your family was there. Your friends were there to comfort and be there for you.
Yeah.
And then when you went back to school, it was like a whole new day. It was like they bullied you and it never really happened until like a week later. So you did something slightly out of character for the average kid. And they were just like, oh, I'll pick on you for that. Like, it was like until they found something new to pick on you for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's like, now it seems like they're stalking the guy.
Yeah.
It's like, it's really scary.
Now they stalk all the pages. I do what other people commented on the side. Like, my accounts are pretty private. I don't make it so people can really find me that easily unless I, like, I accept a friend request or something. But I'm pretty picky when it comes to my personal page because of those reasons. Because it's like, no, I don't really need to put myself out there. Only for my website. It's really about it. And then I have the website page for that. So if you really want to be my personal friend, message me first. Don't just be like, aha, I want to be your friend. Because I won't accept it.
Yeah. I closed my Facebook a few months ago because, I just got tired of it. I just have my Instagram, and then I was thinking, like, okay, if somebody really wants to be in touch with me, they can either follow me on the Instagram, or we can keep touch there. And the people that I really care, and it's they have my phone, or things like that. So I really don't need it. I don't miss it either. So I have one page there just for the performing thing, but I don't have a profile anymore. And I like Instagram better. I think it's more
It's not as much of like a attack or
personal
bully platform. It's more like an artistic platform that people express themselves however.
That's
and you're not judged for it.
That's what I closed the Facebook mostly. Like, it was just
I saw that.
Oh,
thanks, Mom. I'm glad you can't find that emoji.
Keep looking. We're waiting. We will be here. Yeah,
we can wait for it.
We'll wait.
No, don't listen to them. Just move along, Mom. It's okay.
It's fine.
But no, I see the same thing, that I'm pretty protective of my personal account on Facebook. And so it's not spread out for a lot of public posts or anything of that nature. And anybody that follows me knows that most of my stuff is on Instagram, and that's almost 99% media-related stuff. So I just kind of keep it that way. And I'm just kind of seeing what some other people talk about, that school as a shelter, is like a second home for some people. And you spend so much time there at school. I mean, goodness. I mean, it really is that kind of thing. But depending on what your situation was like, then school could have been hell for you. I know it was for me for a little while. I think they took it away from me.
Damn.
Well, thank the Twitch gods or whoever took that away from me.
Twitch gods, can you please bring the emoji back? Amen.
This is going to be like a running thing where, like, my mom comes in and I think I found that emoji, and it's like something wrong, it's something else.
Something totally inappropriate. Like, oh, okay,
no.
Never mind. Yeah, this is worse. Well, I'll find the other one for you. I'll find it.
And it's really kind of sad because I'm not really tech oriented, so it's not like I can sit here and laugh too much about it, because I know probably down the road at some point I'll be doing something, and something will come up that I didn't want to have come up. And I've talked about this before, that once I turned 50, I swear something like a switch went off, and like things that I would normally be really on top of, I'm not on top of them as much as I thought. And the gal today that I interviewed, she told me yesterday via DM, she was like, "Okay, Mark, so I'll see you tomorrow." And actually, she said this on Wednesday, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, tomorrow's Thursday, right?" And so I'm starting to question myself, because I don't really know. I go to my phone, like, "Wait a minute, no, you mean Friday? Friday is the 13th and noon and all that kind of thing." And then she's, "Oh yeah, it's pandemic brain." I said, "No, I get it, but no,
Pretty
I'm
bad
not,
that's a thing.
yeah, I'm just not that sure about myself."
That's right. You thought it was 50-year-old brain.
Yeah,
But it was
exactly.
pandemic brain.
Yeah, it's like
There's different versions of brains out there. Yeah.
I've said this before, that it used to be that if someone told me, like, "Mark, do you remember that show, like when you first met Alice 3 years ago?" I was like, "Yeah, I know for a fact it was 3 years ago." But now there's a little bit of doubt. I'm not quite so
Start to
sure.
question yourself, like,
Yeah, I was like, was it
Was it?
2017? Yeah. Am I still Asian? What's going on?
Hold up a mirror. I am.
Yeah. Okay, I can move forward now.
All right, we're good.
Yeah, we've established that.
I can't confirm if it was 3 years ago or anything else, but I can confirm that I am still Asian. You just see that self-speech to yourself in the mirror. It's like, I could do this.
Yeah. And of course, as I'm saying that, my mom says, "Welcome to my world." So I'm like, I know, Mom. That's why I have that to look forward to when I'm your age. I'm like, oh goodness. I don't know what
I'm like I said, I'm young too. That's I still go like from day to day. I'm like, what day of the week is it? I know the number, but I don't know what day of the week it is anymore. So my coworkers always make fun of me, and they're like, "How do you know what shift to show up for if you don't know what day of the week it is?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's just in there. I don't know."
Yeah.
Don't ask me how. Just accept that I show up on time and just leave it at that. Yeah.
The day of the week is too big picture. I can do hours.
I need a specific day. Yeah. Just need the number. If you tell me the number, I know where I am.
Yeah, no, it's such a trip. And even if it wasn't, like, if we weren't in this pandemic, I think I would still be having these issues.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Pandemic or not, I'd still be like, I don't know.
Yeah, I could easily just say, "Oh, it's because of 2020. It's all these kind of excuses." It's like, no.
This year it's called pandemic brain, but
Yeah, or like Sasha likes to say, "squishy brain" from Alice. That kind of thing.
It's a good way to justify
I like that one. Yeah.
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 It's either light or dark now. Okay.
Yeah. Who knows? It's light or dark.
Yeah, it's
So
crazy
true.
stuff. So, but Mike, I was curious about so how are things with your business down there in Georgia? I mean, are things, people wanting to jump out of planes, or what are they doing at this point in November?
So yeah, I mean, there's still plenty of people, and the good thing about, at least for our business, is that we sell worldwide. So as Georgia starts to get more winter weather and stuff like that, we sell to Australia and New Zealand, and then people are jumping more in Florida. But skydivers aren't the smartest group of people. So, it's a lifestyle, and it's like, they're just, they only quarantine for like maybe a month and a half, and then like, that's it. I got to get in the airplane and go jump. And it's, so that business part, except for like in California where they still have some restrictions, most of the drop zones are open, and people are jumping and people are buying gear. So it's, for our business, it's good. But yeah, they don't seem to care that much. They're just doing what they want to do. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they are being socially distant.
So you could say that, right? Because you're in the sky, but to get socially distanced, you've got to get in a plane packed like sardines right up against each other. So there is that.
Oh, okay, that's also true. Yeah.
But so the business is doing fine. But and Georgia's a state that has very few restrictions. So
Oh.
even when it was at the worst, businesses were allowed to stay open, whereas some of the businesses that do the same thing that we do, that were on the West Coast, they had to shut down completely. That ended up helping us out as far as staying alive. We benefited from that. We were able to keep all of our people employed. And that's, I've been doing this for like 20 years now, this business. And that's the most important thing to me, is like just making sure these people have jobs. And of course that we still have an income, me and my wife, but yeah, we were able to keep them employed. Other businesses weren't able to do that just because of the restrictions or what have you. And I spent a lot of time. So, my business started out as a blog, just like I was a parachute rigger talking about skydiving gear. And so I was writing this called the Rigger Rant and Rave. And so that ended up, I got all these people trusting in me, and I was able to start selling the gear. And so I started from this like really small place. And so as the pandemic grew, I just went back to a lot of that blog stuff, and I started putting out all these, blogs on gear and skydiving and life and how people were dealing with the pandemic. And that I think drew a lot of people. That's where all these other businesses, they weren't selling gear, but they had nothing else to rely on. They didn't have that type of community, that relationship with the community, where I was able to we weren't making money for a couple months, but I was able to quickly switch into that, talking to people and putting out those blogs and conversations, and we're active on social media and all that type of stuff, but in a good way. So that helped us as people started to get back to skydiving. They started, buying their gear again. So anyway.
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. It's an example that you pivoted during that time.
Yeah.
Of like your competitors either are shut down or they don't know what else to do. So here's how I'm going to stay connected to my customers and potential new customers, that you're that you found a way to pivot. And we've seen that during this entire pandemic. It's like, who's going to pivot and who's not. And unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of that residual effect now of those who didn't, because they can't stay open. They don't have a business, which is really sad on an overall scale. We won't get into that whole thing, but I'm so glad that you've been able to keep your company going and keep your employees employed, and in some ways you kind of maybe made your name a little bit bigger because you were the name that was still out there doing it with the drop zones and everything, whereas like you said, the folks maybe on the West Coast had restrictions and couldn't do it yet, and so it's like, okay, we're a business, so we're going to keep moving forward and doing what we need to do. And sometimes I forget that you're down in Georgia. I'm not gonna lie. When I talk to you, I'm thinking, he's on the West Coast. I'm like, no, he's not. he's way down in the corner.
In the corner. Like to the corner.
That's what I think. Like, he's down in the corner. You know that corner.
I like that. It's in the corner.
When was the last time that you guys see each other in person?
2 years ago, maybe.
It was November of 2018 with that Striper gig.
But you see, and we had mutual friends, but we weren't all that close in high school. I think we definitely, after that, it was a kind of a chance encounter, to be honest, at a concert with, again, a mutual friend, and running into each other. And all of a sudden we had a couple conversations just that night. And that kind of I don't know, it kind of drew us back together, which, into a new relationship that, but then we had those common experiences, but we weren't kind of in the same groups. We were younger. So, but it's been awesome. Yeah.
That's great. It's so cool though to reconnect with friends from school. Because I'm definitely not close to anyone from school from mine. Other than my brother and his friends, because we went to the same high school. My brother's 2 years older than me. So we had the same little clique of friends that were the metalheads of the school. But it was same thing. I don't really connect to any of the ones from school nowadays. They're all about, sounds horrible to say, but they're like, they got married and had kids and had steady jobs. And that was their high school, like a year and a half, 2 years out of high school. That wasn't me. It was like, I want to go do photography. I want to go be artistic. I want to go see the world and all that. Like that was kind of my headspace. So I definitely didn't click to anybody in school, whereas my brother and his friends had the same kind of, we had that same little click when we were all in school. So we all kind of did the same thing. We all went and became artistic and traveled, saw places and did all that. So it's like, oh, cool. It worked, right? Like, cool.
Yeah, Mike couldn't have described that better because, it's almost like a chapter 2 or something now. I think about how he was back in high school, and we knew of each other. Sometimes we'd be hanging around in the same vicinity of each other. That's why I asked that question about what kind of things did we do, what concerts did we go to, and we can't really remember what they were. But then, through a mutual friend 2 years ago at the Strapper gig at El Corazon, I have no problem saying this. If Steve happens to be watching, I don't give a shit. That's our mutual friend. And thanks for hanging out, Industrial Girl. Have a good night. Hopefully have a good sleep and a good weekend. So
thank you.
Good night to you.
Good night.
Good night.
But I just remember him saying to me, like via text or something, about, I don't know if you'll be able to recognize me, kind of like wink, wink, at the Striper show, because I had not seen him in years, probably maybe 2003. But in Mike's case, I hadn't seen him since like high school. I mean, it had been that long. And so I just remember, because being and Char and Sony, El Corazon, that once you kind of know the people there, so they the main guy just kind of let me in, and I'm hanging out, and I see, because they're still doing the meet and greet, they're finishing it up for the Striper fans, and I look to my right, there's Mike and there's Steve, and I think I even think good night, Tony, if you're going to sleep. I know it's East Coast over for you as well, so thanks for joining us and hanging out.
Thanks, Tony. Good night.
Bye.
I just want to think, I think I said, like, you guys weren't hard to find or something like that to that extent. And then Mike and I were just kind of catching up about, all sorts of things, for such a wide, chunk of time. And then, with our other friend, I didn't really catch up much at all with him, because he kind of went off into his own little area. But, we won't go into any of that kind of stuff. He's just doing whatever he's doing. But, to me, it was like, we had a lot of things in common. And so, like, when this opportunity came up with the Alice tours, I knew I wanted to bring Mike in, and not because we're like best buddies back in high school. It's because he's a CEO of a company. He's an amazing drummer. He's got lots of interesting things going on that fits right along with all the other guests that I had. So it was like, let's bring Mike in. And
it was also interesting, Mark, not to interrupt you totally, but that one of the most interesting things was that. So, in the same friend groups, who went off and, like, for the next 20 years or whatever, we did our own thing. But as soon as we started talking, we realized I had this common experience with, like, journalism and stuff, because I had a background in that. And it's just stuff, some of our life paths just, like, crossed in some weird different ways of, like, you did that too, or you got into that too. And it was just like, man, and hearing about Eclectic Arts. And anyway, it was just, there were some cool things that just, like, man, why weren't we closer? That type of
or even how
find someone that you, sorry. It is really cool. It is really cool when you like have these kind of encounters with someone that you haven't seen in, I don't know, 20 or 25 years, and then you start talking. I mean, especially if you were friends back in the day, and then you start talking and you realize, like, your mentality is not the same, like, a teenager anymore. And if you get along well, good. It's super cool. I mean, I had a recent experience like that, so I can definitely tell what you're talking about.
That happens too, for sure. Where maybe it's not that, like Mike just described, we connected on so many things about what we had done. Like, I didn't know you did this. I didn't know you did. But you can also have the other side of that, where, like, you're still stuck in high school mentality.
That's very true.
Haven't you matured? Haven't you had more life experience? Mature, have more life experiences. I don't know. I can't relate to you now, so it's actually kind of sad that you haven't, done more things. But that was not the case on Mike. So we were completely the other way around. It's like,
that's awesome.
So many cool
Right.
things going on, and I have no problem saying this, because someone who, if he happens to be watching, he can just text me if he wants to about what kind of bullshit was that.
That was a terrible shout out.
At the end of the show, being a media person, I had worked it out where I was going to be able to meet the band, just as a family friend thing or whatever. And but I wanted to catch up with Mike and our other friend after the show. It's like, but then they were nowhere to be found. And so our mutual friends started texting me like once I got home, like all these like long texts.
Like 10-mile text messages.
Yeah, if you had to go, you had to go. I get it, but I don't know what the situation was. But again, there had been so much time that had lapsed. I'm like, you couldn't hang out for a little bit longer? I wasn't going to be in there that long.
Yeah,
we weren't going to have dinner or something that night with the band or whatever.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And I just hope that eventually when live shows come back that the band comes back. But again, in Mike's case, he came all the way from Georgia. I think he maybe made some family stops on the way up to Seattle eventually.
Yeah.
For that show.
That was an awesome trip. Which just a quick thing, but yeah, I went to San Francisco. My grandma lives down there, so I was born in Berkeley, California. So I have a lot of family in like Pacific Grove and San Francisco. So I stopped and saw a bunch of family, and then I did this road trip all the way up the West Coast, and that was fun. Just me driving up the West Coast and making it to Seattle, where I spent most of my grown-up years. But yeah, that was a fun trip. But that, that was the kind of the cherry on top was seeing Steve, because I hadn't seen him in a while, and then running into Mark. It was like, man, this has been a great trip. So many surprises along the way. But yeah,
that's wonderful.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, it's funny because like you were saying, Mark and Mike, that you guys had so many common interests that you kind of overlapped. It's interesting that you wouldn't have overlapped sooner. Like you wonder why it's that moment that you happen to see each other and run into each other versus like previous moments that you're like, wait, you were there too, and you were there. Like I've had that too, where you're like, what are the odds you didn't run into that person at that time, and why was it that exact moment, right? Like you wonder, like right time, right moment. That we could probably go on and on about whole like millennial why things happen, but yeah, it's just kind of cool that it's like, oh, you knew it was for the right reason at the right time when you guys did come together, but it's like you wonder how you don't bump into each other sooner.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I had to, not the same experience, but me and my wife. So my wife went to work for Bank of America for a while in Dallas, Texas. And I spent a year at Dallas, Texas at a college. And we were there. We went back. We met in Georgia. But, after we got to know each other and started dating, we were in, she was in the bank that I used to go to.
Oh, wow.
And on this East Avenue or whatever at the same time, and she was working that bank and I was going to college, but we never, that we know of, never talked to each other, but we knew we were in the same place, and we met in Georgia, I don't know, 4 or 5 years later. And it's one of those things. It's like cross paths, but just didn't run into each other.
But didn't run in. Yeah. You're like, like you say, it's meant to be at the right time for the right reason, right? So it's like you wonder if you would have been together if you had met at the bank versus if you met in Georgia, right? You're like, makes you think. It's funny. Yeah.
Those interesting ships in the night kind of thing, passing by and you don't realize you're right in the same place. And I think about that kind of stuff because I used to work with a guy that he used to be at Safeco Field, where the Mariner, whatever it's called nowadays, but and
that field.
He's one of those guys.
I didn't even know they changed the name of
it.
It's
I'm Canadian. I can say I don't know. Legit, I'm like, I don't.
I thought it was still the Kingdom, so I don't know.
The new sponsor there. T-Mobile Park. That's what it's called now. I actually remembered it. Haven't had enough beer yet. I need to have more beer.
How long has it been T-Mobile Park anyway? I'm just that was random. I'm like, what?
Probably two seasons, I want to say. So it's fairly recent.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I swear when I was there last time, it said Mariners.
So it's still the Mariners playing it, but instead of it being Safeco Field being the sponsor, now it's T-Mobile's taking over the sponsorship of the name and all that. But my friend used to be one of those people that would look around at all the fans there and think about, is this somebody that might save my life down the road? Is this somebody that I might become really good friends with? Because he talked about how we met at work, saying that, Mark, if you had said no to my interview, then we never would have known each other, and all these other kind of things would have happened. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same way. That so even like reconnecting with Mike 2 years ago, I kind of think about what are some of these other people doing that I used to know
Right.
in high school that I've kind of maybe I don't have on social media. So beyond a John or a Ken or Steve or somebody, but there's other people that were in that circle. It's like I don't know what they're doing, and maybe some weird way I'll come across them and realize we have things in common. Or it could be it could be the reverse of that, where like you have nothing in common with them anymore.
Like,
Too much time has passed.
Right.
But it's just interesting. I'm fascinated by people, so I think that's part of it. I'm always curious about people and their stories and their walks of life and that kind of thing. So.
Right.
Okay. So Tony's hanging out with us. Okay, cool.
Hello again.
he thought we were done. We're not done.
Like no.
But it's been really interesting talking about all the things from and I know roughly like where Mike's age would be because he's not that much far removed from me. Char, you said you're 31. Sony, are you in your 32? You don't have to say your age. I'm just kind of curious.
No, I'm okay. I mean, I never had any issues with my age. I'm totally okay. I'm 39.
Okay. Yeah, so you're still in your 30s. You're still young.
One more year in the 30s.
We're in the 30s. We're okay when we're in the 30s. You hit 40s, and it's like, oh.
I'll be 40 next
can't really
year.
stay young anymore. Like, like I'm still a kid. No.
Well, Mark, I got one more year, then I'll be 50. So I'm 49 still.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
It's so funny.
We got one from each. We got one from each group: 30s,
right.
40s, and 50s.
Yeah. The other day I was going through my clothes, and I was like, "Oh, this sweat is so like kind of daring, sexy," and I was like, "Probably I will just wear it. I don't know, 10 more years until I am 40," and then I was like, "Oh wait, I'm 39."
Like,
10 more years until I am 40.
Got 1 year left. Yeah.
No. I'm gonna be 40 next year. And like, what I'm thinking. Yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm 30 still.
Like it's funny because like when I was in my 20s, it didn't really seem like it went really quickly, but now I was like, when I turned 30, I was like, oh man, I'm 30. And then like it was like all of a sudden 31. I'm like, 31? Didn't I just turn 30? What the hell?
Yeah. It's like quicker every year.
It's just going faster and faster each year. You're like, oh crap.
Believe me though. Yeah.
Take it from the old man. It goes really fast.
Well, I always used to laugh because like my parents would say that. They'd be like, stop getting older, guys. Again, we were like 10, 12. Like we were young, and my parents would be like, stop getting older. It's making us age faster. And I'm like, no, it isn't. Now I'm 31. I'm like, oh God. I'm aging so quickly. What's happening?
Yeah, I say that I tell the same to my kid, not because I accept the part like you are getting me older. I mean, no, it's just like I miss him when he was so little. It's like I see him now, like, oh, he's 7 and he's gonna be 8, and and it's like, oh, like I want him to be innocent and super cute all the time. My
mom was the same when we were that same age. She was just like, no, I like when you're little. And like when I was going into kindergarten, my brother was kind of the opposite of me, and he didn't really want to go to kindergarten. He liked staying home with mom and dad and stuff. And I was the kid that my mom's like, okay, sweetie. I'm like, yeah, mom, bye. I was like, bye, see you later. My mom hated that. She was just like, no, I want to hug you goodbye. And I'd be like, okay. And like, hug her real quick and be like, okay, mom, let's go. I'm ready to go to school. Like it was
Ramses is the same to me. The very first time that I put him on kindergarten, well, it was actually pre-K, and I was like, maybe he's gonna cry, or I was so worried. And he just saw the teacher like, oh, this is gonna, hi Ramses, I'm gonna be your teacher. And he just grabbed her hand and left. He didn't even
just like, bye.
And I was like, hey, bye.
Just like, I love you too,
I was like, it was weird. Like I was happy, like, oh, cool. He's confident, he doesn't need me. But at the same time, like, bye.
you're fighting with two emotions. You're happy that he's gonna go make friends and like he's gonna start the process of learning new things and all that, but at the same time you're like, but he's my baby.
Yeah.
Reel him back in. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm trying to reel me back in. It didn't work. I just ran. I just ran to class.
I'm sure Sony probably had a certain scenario that kind of built up in her head at that moment, like what's going to happen, what I'm going to do, and then it became, oh, where are you going?
Yeah.
No, but he just grabbed the hand of the teacher and left. Like, bye.
Like, oh,
She didn't even say bye. Actually, we're like, hey, bye.
I at least said bye. Yeah, I at least said goodbye.
Yeah, I still remember that time. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good. He likes the school too, and he miss going to the building, and he keeps saying that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to the building. I'm like, well, sorry. Hope come back soon.
Yeah, hopefully, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe next school year.
Maybe. Yeah.
I mean, realistically, they're probably going to be all the way through the winter, not back in session, and then that'll be in spring. There'll be roughly 3 months left. And they'll probably start looking at it like, is this even worth risking? So then we might as well just bag it and just keep doing virtual for the rest of the school year and hope that things are better by September. And especially for like your son is single digits, he's young still. That's hard. I mean, it's so hard because I don't know if they quite understand like why this is happening. They understand that. That there's a.
But it's hard. I mean, he's extremely social, and he misses his friends, and he misses being out and doing all that. So it has been a challenge. But yeah, he keeps saying like, "Oh, I missed going to the building and all that." So, hey Mike, do your kids have school? Like going to the school? They are going.
Yeah.
To school?
So the end of last year, they starting like February, March. Everything went virtual, and then beginning of this year, though, they did go back. But they're going to a school that goes 2 days a week. So they're in session. The whole school is like split in half. So half the school comes 2 days, and half the school comes the other 2 days. So they are in session, but it's 2 days, and then they're at home 3 days. So.
No, I am asking because you mentioned that pretty much every business or every
Georgia's pretty much back, but their school already is like that, so they go to a hybrid school. So it was already like that before. It's just that it seems to work better. That some of the other schools that are 5 days a week or whatever, they're either adjusting their schedule or they're all virtual, or some of them are back. It's a really mixed bag here in Georgia. It's all over the map. But our school was already a 2 day, 2 days in and 3 days at home. So, yeah.
BC's like that too. They've got a couple days a week that half goes and then half goes, and then they have virtual through the week. So I only hear that from other friends of mine that have kids. But that's some of it they're getting a little leery of because they have masks where they have to wear it in the hallways, but they don't have to wear it in the classrooms. So there a lot of students and teachers are a little iffy about that because they're like, we're all pretty close. They're all pretty close still. Like they're not necessarily all that 6 feet apart. So it's kind of like, I'd worry about it, especially with cases soaring right now. I'd be like, you could just go back to virtual for now. And then like the rest of the communities, like they've started closing certain aspects of businesses and stuff in the province to control the cases again. But they're like, no, we're going to leave school as is. I'm like, really? I feel like that's an at-risk section that, you could just go virtual for at least the high schools. You could just leave them virtual because kids are savvy with technology these days. But elementary, you could at least maybe space out a bit better or figure another system somehow at this point. Because not making them wear masks and stuff is kind of like, it's better to wear a mask or at least do something. A little more, but
our kids, that's the way that school does exactly what you described, Charles. They do mask everywhere except for when they get in the classroom. And that boggles my mind. Like it's like you're in a closed classroom breathing each other's air. So I don't know. They do. The good thing is that they send us notes like every week that's like, this is the number of kids that have tested negative. If there's any that's tested positive, if you were in a class that tested
Oh,
positive,
that's good.
then those kids stay home for 2 weeks or whatever. So there's a lot of communication, but you're rolling the dice. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's just,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's such a weird, hard thing.
it is.
But
Yeah.
for so far, we've been healthy. My parents have been healthy a lot. You know, it's just, you know. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Knock on wood, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like you have to adjust to all the changes because pretty much all your routine change.
Oh,
And you
yeah.
are adapted to a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Everything else in life changed, so you kind of have to adjust school too, right?
Exactly.
Everything pretty much virtually changed like overnight.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah, I think we're also learning this in general, at least from my perspective, that some people don't know how to deal with change at all.
yeah.
On any level, they don't know how to do it. And when you have to be fluid during something like this, they don't know how to do that. It's like, oh, I thought we were going to be good by this point, so why do I have to go back to what we were doing before in March? It's like, because look at the numbers or look at the science. And again, it depends on your point of view with things. I understand that, but it's like even for myself, I don't like change, but I know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
I don't like it either, but you know, I'm with the science.
Yeah, me
With the
too.
experts. So
Yep. Wear a mask, protect others that are at risk, and protect yourself as well. Like, it seems so simple yet so hard. Hard at the same time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
It seems like, for a while, like I could see Georgia, because we wear masks everywhere, but you could see, like, it felt like everyone was like on board. And then the last couple months, it's like out the window. Like the places we go, we're like, are you serious? It's even a store that it says you can't come in here without a mask. There's people walking all around. You're like, you gotta be kidding me. It's just, I think it's gonna be harder and harder in certain pockets of the country to get people to like get back on board.
Yeah.
Canada's kind of going in the same vote. Like, I believe Quebec had like 7,000 new cases, and I'm like, that's like their highest to date case count. And I'm just like, okay, guys, someone get it together. Someone mandate something, close businesses, do what we did in the beginning. Because like you said, Mike, everybody was totally okay doing it in the beginning. But now they're like, okay, we've exceeded like 5 months. I'm sick of doing it now. We're going to go back to normal. And you're like, no, you can't go back to normal. There's no vaccine. There's no cure for it. People are still dying. People are still like getting like really sick, having to go to hospital. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
I want concerts. I want to go back to music again. I miss it so much. But I don't see concerts for like until easily 2022, unfortunately. At the rate everything's going, it's going to be a long time.
And it's going to be a lot smaller. It's going to take a while for, back, unfortunately.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. It's going to start from the small things and then kind of see what happens from there, because then I guess we lost Sony. But,
Sony!
Anything that you thought you could maybe almost count on, it's like you got to throw that out the window at this point. Just kind of deal with it as it eventually comes or doesn't come.
Right.
Even like for myself, I know I'm supposed to be reviewing something digitally from one of the ballet companies that I do reviews for, and I was talking to the communication. Well, I wasn't talking. I was through email talking with him, and it was like he didn't know if they were going to survive, and that was scary to me. And they've been around for years, decades. But he's like, that's where we're at, Mark. Because I was asking him about, do you think you guys could do like a live stream of your performances, like other people do in bands and that kind of thing? I understand that being the ballet company, that maybe that's not feasible for you financially. He said exactly, that was the word, financially. He said, there's no way we could ever actually do that and make our money back. We're actually losing money on our digital season right now. And I'm like,
that's sad.
And there's unions involved, and there's all kinds of other things that are involved too. So it's like, shit. It became much more real to me. Like, they'll make it through, won't they? And now it's like, I don't know. And I'd hate to see that kind of thing disappear, but it's going to happen. If it's not them, it's somebody else. that I usually cover. So, yeah, and Sony's back. Yay!
Yay.
But we were talking maybe kind of to maybe wind this up because it is getting kind of late for at least for Mike. That
Mike's surviving. He's holding on.
I'm here.
he is. Yeah, we were talking, pre-show about are some of these things real in terms of these Zoom calls where like someone's doing something inappropriate and
Very true.
Yeah, because the early ones, like in March, you'd see like maybe like your spouse walks behind you and they only have a towel on. I understand that, or they're saying something inappropriate. Hey, honey, can we do that? Oh, I didn't realize you're in a meeting. But now it's become these things of like, what are you doing? Are these staged or are they real? And I don't really know what to believe. Because there's one going around. It looked like it was a business meeting, a Zoom call, and then that one guy pulls out like lotion and a tissue and all this kind of shit. And they're trying to tell me, hey, you're still on camera, turn it off. I'm like, but who does that during a business meeting?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I hear
Just
some
stripped down.
stories.
Yeah.
I hear some stories like that from the teachers in the school. Like there is like they send email. They send an email like, please, if you need to do things like smoke weed or having alcohol, just keep in mind that your kids are with other kids.
Oh my goodness.
Meeting.
Right?
And I was like, who knows that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad if they have to warn you about that.
It's
Like,
common sense. Like common sense. Like I understand, like you said, if it's, I don't know, an adult meeting. If your kid is in elementary school or middle school and you're doing that in the background, it's like
right. It's like they don't know how far back the camera films. It's like they think, oh, it's only on my kid's face. So if I stand 2 feet away behind, it's like, no. It films everything behind.
Yeah.
Like,
I always leave him like in this room and I am go and do something else there.
Right.
And if he needs me, he calls me, but I don't go and stay there. Like I give him that space.
Right. And plus there's so many features, like there's features to turn off the camera and stuff too, right? So it's like for that scenario to even happen, it's like, what? Like does no one know how to use the feature, or it's got like a mute button or whatever for a reason. Or like even like a hide scenario, right?
Oh
like,
yeah.
Well, see, and that's Char, you saying that now I'm starting to think about. So, what are people doing when they are in those meetings and they do that? So, if they turn their camera off, are they?
Oh God!
Awful, unreasonable things.
Oh, excuse me while I stop my camera for a minute. No.
Yeah, and then and 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Come back and forget to get dressed. Damn it!
Yeah, exactly.
How did I forget the clothing? Yeah.
What kind of weird pervs are out there? I mean.
Oh, we don't want to start that topic. That could take a while. That could snowball very quickly.
Oh no.
There's a lot of creepy people out there.
Yeah, because again, I see some of these videos that get start going viral of people passing around through social media. First thing I think of is like, how is this real?
It's a stage.
Right?
Yeah, and if it is real, that's really disturbing.
Yeah, like that's just like, woo, out to lunch. Yeah.
Talk about a horror movie or whatever.
I don't know if it'd be more horror. It'd be like horror movie / comedy spoof. I don't know. It'd kind of fall into both categories depending how the video goes. Yeah.
Yeah, just crazy stuff. But hey, I think this was a perfect moment to just kind of wrap this up. It's been so great having everybody here, and Tony's been hanging in there over in the East Coast.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah,
thanks, Tony.
And, I'm sure my mom's still up watching this, so thanks, Mom, for hanging out. And
she's still trying to find that middle finger.
I was just going to say, she's still looking for the emoji.
Please give us the emoji.
I prayed for that emoji. It better come. It better show up.
Epicness.
But yeah, so Mike and Char and Sony, thank you for joining me. Tony, have a good night, a good weekend. Hopefully everybody stays safe where they're at. And,
thank you. You too.
Yeah, there's my mom doing the thumbs up right there. So she's still there, and Tony's saying, yeah. So it was a really great session.
Thank
great
you,
night.
Tony.
And they've all been that
Thank-
way. And so, yeah, again, stay safe. And
You
Mike
too.
and Char, I hope to see you, down the road. Sony, I'm going to see you
Absolutely.
real soon in a couple
Yeah,
days
see you on Sunday.
on Sunday. So
Yay!
I'll be communicating with you about the details just to make sure
Absolutely.
everything's locked
Yeah.
down. But I'm ready to rock with that. So people will get to see the evidence once I get it up on social media.
I hope you two have fun. Enjoy your
Yeah,
4 hours.
we will.
That'll be awesome.
Awesome. All right. Have a
Yeah,
good
thank
night,
you.
everybody.
Yeah.
Nice to
Good
meet
night,
you
Nice
guys.
meeting you all.
Good
Good
night.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice
Good
to meet you
night.
too. Good
Nice
night.
to meet you both. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night. Good night.
Yay.
Bye.